race. Koenigsegg, yep, he's got the advantage, but unironically the average ducks to the inside. What a move! But Koenigsegg accelerating back on the outside. And there goes Salty Bonkos to the inside. Bashing door panels, sparks flying, smoke spraying. The Butler is going to go wide. Salty Bonkos on the inside. They're a little bit off the pace, but now accelerating all 500 horsepower. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, race fans all around the world. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, and welcome to Tuesday, the best day of the work week that isn't named Friday. I'm Dustin Moore, and I'm grateful to have you here tuned in with me as we get ready for week number 4 of season 33 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. AMS Uticon with 200 points sits atop the leaderboard with SGR Corvid in second at 187. As we saw last week out at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the Green Hell, AMS Uticon's streak of 5 straight wins came to an end. That 6th elusive straight win getting nabbed by SGR Corvid as he picks up the extra points to keep within pace or within reach there of AMS Uticon and to have a run at the championship here in season number 33. He's really going to have to pour it on here tonight with a race out at the International Circuit of Silverstone in the rain, mind you. Follow that up with the very complex Virginia International Raceway VIR. I'm Dustin Moore, and I'm on the mic here, as always, on Virtual Auto Sports, and I'm glad to have you here. Is Tuesday. Like I said during the countdown, this is our night. This is the Forza Spec Racing Series, one of the longest-running community leagues that you will find here in Forza Motorsport and its community. It's a fantastic event, and we've had some great races all throughout the season. As a matter of fact, races so great that ahead of next week's finale over the weekend on Sunday following our 30-50 race, we'll have a complete rewind here of season 33, weeks 1 through 4, with the finale coming next Tuesday, a week from tonight. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch TV. A lot more content to come, and as a matter of fact, we're on day number 5 of 7 straight days of content here on Twitch. We just wrapped up 30-50 this past Sunday, and we actually have a poll that's posted up on Twitter. My Twitter, you can find me at VRTL Autosports. And let me get Nightbot to go ahead and help you out there. Click that link, go over to my Twitter, and then there's a poll within my Twitter feed. There is a poll for either trophy trucks or hot hatches. Last time I checked, the trophy trucks were leading the vote. And if that's the case, then in next Sunday's 30-50 event at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we're going to have trophy trucks out on the track here in the world of Forza Motorsport. You won't find that in many other leagues. We're making it happen here, Virtual Auto Sports. Then on Wednesday, we've got Wildcard Wednesday. That's tomorrow, mañana, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, a couple hours ahead of what we're broadcasting here tonight. We'll have Wildcard Wednesday. I know what the game is going to be. You all don't. Show up here tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll play ourselves something that stretches back or dates back to the Xbox 360 era. And I'm curious to know if any of you had picked that title up and played it and what your thoughts are and what your thoughts are going to be with what it looks like here today. Well, not today, but today as in today, the modern age, and then the modern era of video games in this generation. And then, of course, what it looks like remastered. It is a remastered game. And then on Thursday, we've got Thursday Night Throwdown. And if you haven't yet taken a look at what that event is going to be, make sure you head on over to my Discord. Nightbot's going to help you out there with a link taking you right straight to the Thursday night Throwdown announcement section. You don't have to register. All I ask is that you show up here on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll do qualifying 10 past the hour, 15 minutes of qualifying in the Porsche Cayman GT4 car out at the Nürburgring GP. What a beautiful, beautiful track and a beautiful car to go along with it. Just a fantastic combination, if I do say so myself. And we'll have 30 laps around that circuit for about 60 minutes worth of racing with one mandatory quick stop, simulation damage, and all that turned on. It's going to be a beaut. Don't miss it. And then what are we going to do with the rest of the, well, not the rest of the week, but what are we going to do beyond Thursday? Because then that concludes our 7-day stretch of content. Well, I can tell you we'll be here again on Friday with a little bit of Forza Friday with yours truly, Dustin Moore, and the crew. I call you all the crew. You're the crew. Show up with me, hang out with me. Perhaps we'll do a little bit of racing, or I might just be trying to chase down Fear the Fun and his times in the Forza Racing Championships Legendary Lap Challenge. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Back to the standings here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, because that's the here and now. That's what we're really looking forward to. Oh, and I should say, on Friday, I will mention what our schedule looks like here on the broadcast for the remaining, not the remaining weeks, like as if the world's coming to an end, but ahead. What does content look like here on Virtual Auto Sports moving forward? I'll have that announcement on Friday during our Forza Friday broadcast. I talked about AMS Unicon and SGR Corvid, but beneath them you see Carbon TI there at 184. Tied with him, actually 20 points back, is Cratrium in fourth position. DTR Maverick at 144. Audrex has had a stellar season, up to 143 points, putting him sixth overall here on the leaderboard. Fear the Fun dropping back a little bit with 136 points, sits just in front of IPR Wolf, who has 132. You look at that middle column, CMB Slipstream at 122, Born as Ghost, LSEM Chaos Fox, Darkser, who will not be racing with us tonight, Hoot Wills, who had aspirations to be a bit higher on the leaderboard. She was there in week number 3, but then after week 3, it all went downhill, and now Hoot Wills will be a part of the GTCC competition over in Tora. LMP Phantom at 80, DOR Hocus, Joe Beardy, Foontang, Modern Weapon, AX4X, Big Ben, Mega Chin, Grim, Salty Bonkos, Kuda, Slow Motion Fire. Yes, folks, lots and lots of names here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. If you wish to participate, make sure you head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4 to get the information, to get yourself signed up. And if you want to race in the finale, I'm more than willing to bet that Slow Motion Fire and crew will be happy to have you, even if that finale is your first race that you'll be showing up in, and then that'll get you ready for season number 34. Whoever ends up being the champion from this leaderboard will pick the vehicle. That's one of the bennies that you get if you win the championship, is you get to pick the car for the subsequent season. Season number 34, what will be in store if it's AMS Unicon, Corvid, maybe even Carbon, if he can make a few leaps and bounds there from P3 to P1. Those drivers getting the chance have the opportunity to select the vehicle for next season. All right, folks, beyond that, beyond the standings, I know we've talked about what tracks will be raced here this evening, but here's a look at what's left on our schedule. We've already poured through 3 weeks of racing with Yas Marina, Le Mans Bugatti Circuit, Road America, Top Gear West, the Road Atlanta Full Circuit, and the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where AMS Unicon lost that sixth, or had a chance at 6 straight, lost that race, and ended the streak there at 5 thanks to SGR Corvid. Tonight, April 21st, we've got Silverstone, 22 laps in the wet, then heading out to VIR in the daytime, and no precipitation out there for 14 laps. All of this ahead of the only fantasy track that is on the schedule here for season 33, race number 9 out there at Prague, the short track for 69 laps. With that said, let me go ahead and wrangle into the broadcast booth. Fear the Fun, and Fear the Fun first. Let's start off with the important topics here, which I know some of the importance is on the Forza Spec Racing Series, but man, you really made it difficult for me in front of an audience there on Friday to beat your lap time in Leja's Lamborghini event.
Hey, it was not my intention. I didn't know that once you beat my first time, that you would get my second. I had no idea.
See, and that's where you and I have a little bit of a differing of opinion, because you said you weren't sure that would mess with me in terms of I beat your time, and then you decided as I'm trying to beat your time that you're gonna put down even a quicker time, and you do that, and you do it in a pink Centenario.
I didn't like the carbon fiber, man. It was black and yellow. It needs to have a little bit of color, a little bit of flair.
So if you guys didn't see that on Friday, I beat Fear the Fun's first time, which albeit was probably not the quick. Well, it wasn't the quickest time that he could muster, because obviously he goes back and does better. But while I'm there challenging his ghost live, I beat him. He beats my time at the same time, or within at least a minute or two difference, and then I have to go chase his ghost down again. And for the next hour, I try, and to no avail. But Fear the Fun, let's turn our attention away from that. As much as I want to still talk about that and give you heck, you've fallen back to not fourth position. That would be excellent if you fell back to fourth, but you fell back to seventh position behind Audrex there on the overall leaderboard. Still, very respectable spot, but what do you got to do here in week number 4 to see yourself up a few more spots and possibly closer to the top 5?
Well, I mean, it's obvious. I got to beat Audrex, and I got to wreck Maverick.
You say that's the obvious. You say that's the obvious. Let me rephrase that question then. What have you done, or what do you think you need to do specifically with this car, the Pontiac Solstice GXP, first out here in the rain and then out at VIR, which, as a lot of folks know here in the Forza community, very tricky track to get used to, familiarized with, and to keep the car on the surface. So what are you telling yourself mentally? Or maybe you're telling yourself out loud, I don't know. What are you doing to prepare for these 2 races?
When it comes to Silverstone, I just have to be more, especially with rain. I don't have like a specific tune for this to make it better in the rain. I'm running this for not Coda, VIR.
Yeah.
And they're vastly different tracks. One's very flat, the other one's very hilly. One's going to be in the rain, one's going to be in the dry. But when it comes to Silverstone, it's all about patience. VAR, I just have to, because I'm always early on the brakes, and I can see that it's costing me a lot of.
Yeah, costing you a little bit of time to be early on the brakes. Talking with Fear the Fun here in the driver's spotlight, and for those of you watching the broadcast, pardon as we get Fear the Fun cutting in and out here. I'll ask you one more question here, Fear the Fun, as we head into the grand finale here, week number 5, out there at Prague, the short circuit. I know I asked this question a lot of you, but specifically you, because you seem to have always great aspirations heading into each one of these seasons. You were in a good spot, I think, up there in 5th position before dropping behind Maverick and Audrex. So what is your personal goal with 3 races left? Where should we see Fear the Fun's name here on this leaderboard when we say it's all said and done?
I'm still pushing for that 5th place. I really want to. I hope that I have better finishes this week, even though I felt like I've had great finishes all season. I've only finished out of the top 10 one time. Granted, that's not going to secure me a 5th place. But as far as I can see right now, neither Audrex or Maverick showed up right. So maybe I can get a little bit of breathing room. But it's also, it could be their bye week. So if it's their bye week, I don't know. I just got to do better this week. And then next week, I hope I put together a solid run in the endurance. Not wreck anybody, not get wrecked, and hopefully hope for the best, I guess.
Great point that you make, and I know I said that was my last question, but since you made such a wonderful point, let me go ahead and throw one out here for you. What do you foresee being your worst week here, looking across the landscape? Obviously, we've got 3 weeks in the books. We've got tonight, and then we've got the grand finale, which counts double the points out there at Prague. Which one do you see being your drop week, and does that help or hinder you any?
I think probably week 3 last week is probably going to be my...
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because I did have a terrible finish at Road America for week 2, but I thought I came back really well for week 2, considering I had the 4th place finish at top, or the 5th place.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you had a respectable finish back there in week number 2. I remember Road America being quite strong, and then you followed that up there out at the Top Gear West circuit. So, fair the fun. Best of luck to you in qualifying. We'll be wishing the best for you in your march toward the top 5.
Thank you.
All right, folks, there you go. It's just that easy if you participate here in the Forza Spec Racing Series to also be a part of the broadcast. You can hop here into the broadcast booth with me, heading on over into that interview queue section of the FM4 Discord. Of course, the first place that you want to start is reddit.com/r/FM4 and get yourself signed up. And, man, the call has come through. It has resounded throughout the folks who have been racing in the Forza Spec Racing Series season number 33 and those of you who aspire to race in this series, because we currently have 20 drivers on the grid with just 3 spaces remaining. And if I remember correctly, about 5 minutes ago, we had another driver in here taking it up to 21 in total. So we may actually have 21 cars out on the track with just 2 vacant spots. I definitely encourage you, if you want some league-based racing action and you want it in an environment that doesn't take itself too seriously, kind of a beer league type atmosphere, then the forum, the reddit.com/r/FM4 is the place for you to start out at. Get yourself recognized, introduce yourself, get signed up through Slow Motion Fire so that he knows who you are and how to get you into the lobby, which gamer tag and all that. And then show up here on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for what is, I may be a little bit biased, but some of the best racing that you're going to see here in the Forza Motorsport community. All right, where in the heck is my stuff? There it is. That's what I'm looking for. My overlays were disappeared. Had disappeared, and now look at that. We've got 23. That would be 22 drivers. I'm the spectator, but as I look in here, we've got Cratrium, and let me get where I can scroll. Carbon, AMS Uticon, Salty Bonkos, IPR Wolf, Chaos Fox, Corvid, Slipstream, Fear the Fun, Grim, Born as Ghost, Foontang, Hocus, Audrex, D-Fire 999, Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, Kuda 93 is back, Megachin is back, Magnolia 24 is here for the first time, DTR Maverick, and Presto is Besto in the house here this evening. Just one vacant spot. Do we have one other driver out there? One other driver who can make this a full lobby? That would be fantastic. We saw a full lobby back there in week number 1 out at Yas Marina and the Top Gear, Yas Marina and the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. So it'd be awesome for us to get another full grid here, or a second night of full grid racing in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Bouncing Barman is in the chat. Great to see you. All too quick for me these days. Maybe once I've got myself back into racing a bit more. Oh, Bouncing Barman, you're selling yourself short there in both your capability and then also just how much fun here you would have in the Forza Spec Racing Series once again. So make the call. Make that decision. Do it. Matt 6661 is here again with the host a little bit ago. Carry Out, Sober David, both providing a couple of hosts as well. And then Dustin Smith, a man of my own name, 1991 with the follow. And now Bouncing Barman with the host. Thank you very much there, Bouncing Barman. And we are just moments away here from qualifying out at Silverstone in the international circuit, and it looks like they're going to be qualifying in the rain unless Slow Motion Fire makes an adjustment here just before things get started. Spectate. Oh, you're waiting for me. Well, I was hoping for one more driver, so I was going to sit there and just kind of hold you guys off. All right, we'll go ahead and spectate. Get this qualifying underway. 3 laps around the Silverstone International Circuit. 3.2. Nope, that's going to be a VIR. It's a 2.25-mile track. All this ahead of 22 laps. A 22-lap race that we'll have coming up immediately after the spectating or the qualifying session. And don't mind my trophy truck there, as obviously doing a little prep work ahead of 3050, which might very well feature trophy trucks. Again, head on over to my Twitter and cast your vote if you haven't already. A great turnout on the votes. We've already got, I think, an upwards of 45 votes of people saying, hey, let's get some trophy trucks, and then almost an equal amount of people saying, no, trophy trucks is way too crazy. Let's get those modern hot hatches out. And so you could be the difference. You could quite literally be the one who decides which division of car is going to be eligible for our 3050 event, and we had a barn burner of a return of 3050 back on Sunday. If you didn't see that one, make sure you go to the video broadcast tab here on the channel after tonight's broadcast and click on those highlights. You'll have to go to the highlights as the past broadcast. Those get dumped. I keep a highlight because I truncate it and get you to the bits that are important as opposed to the whole countdown at the beginning of the broadcast. So go watch that. We had a lot of fun. We had Williams, Mitch. No, not Mitch. It was Harmonic who showed up for us in 3050, the return thereof. And it was in the Rise of the Supercars out at Spa. And Harmonic ended up both with the quickest qualifying time and with the win. As we see, it looks like Presto's Besto getting turned around there, coming out of Maggots. And now toward Bridge, and has got the car pointed in the right direction at this juncture. Let's go ahead and throw some stats there in the lower left-hand corner as the drivers cross the line for the first time. This will be their flying lap here. And looks like the Solstices don't have their headlamps turned on here in the rain. We'll get the Forza cops out there, the Forza police, to go ahead and assess some fines. But it looks like AMS Uticon right now with a 121.296. Take that for what you will on that first standing start lap. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Uticon there at the top following the flying lap, as we see now Fear the Fun cruising down the back straightaway here, or I guess the infield straightaway at Silverstone. Not running the Grand Prix track here tonight in these C500 Pontiac Solstice GXPs. C500s, it's a little bit on the lower end of the performance spectrum for cars in Forza Motorsport 7. That C500 is the result of the game's game engine actually runs these vehicles in the background. We can't see it, but when you do tuning and all that, the game essentially runs an algorithm to understand what the car's performance looks like, both in acceleration, top speed, handling, braking, cornering, and then it spits out that performance index score, the C500, the max of the C-Class. As we see IPR Wolf getting around. I think AMS Uticon said that he's got a new livery on the car. Let's go take a look at it. It does look familiar. I think Uticon, or Huracan, however you want to pronounce it, was just running a plain Jane white paint job last week and possibly all throughout the season, and finally either put a livery together or had somebody put a livery together for him. As he comes now out of Maggots down the infield straightaway underneath the Silverstone Bridge. And heading toward what would be Abbey Curve. If I'm not mistaken, this is a little bit of an older version of the International track. I might be mistaken. I could be wrong, but I feel like this is an older version. For those of you who are Silverstone experts or just generally more knowledgeable about about racing, let me know. I think this is an older take on the track, though. And speaking of which, not just correct me when I'm wrong, because that is very much welcomed, but also, if you're watching with us maybe for the first time or you're just hanging out, feel free to say hello there in the pit lane, or the Twitch chat as it's otherwise known. AMS Uticon coming across the line with a 118.403. Say hello. Would love to be able to chit-chat with you back and forth, talk about the race that's going on here on screen, talk about maybe what's going on in the world of esports racing. As we know, real-world racing is currently on a hiatus. And then maybe what is in the future of Forza Motorsport or any other racing game that you're excited about. We had Assetto Corsa on Saturday, Assetto Corsa Competizione, doing a little bit of racing out there at Brands Hatch. But anything that tickles your fancy, so to speak, feel free to drop that into the chat. Let's keep it family friendly, however. You don't want to have to time anybody out. But love to get that discourse going back and forth here. chat it up as we see another car spun around. However, this being the last lap, that's not going to harm anybody. And it looks like we're getting kicked out back to the lobby, and we'll take a look at everybody's quick times here for qualifying ahead of race number 7, Silverstone, the international track. Fear the Fun with a 120 Ott. Udakan with a 118.403. I think that's going to be good enough for pole position. 18.767 for Cratrium. Just a little over 0.3 of a second behind Udakan there. Megachin with a 122.197. Modern Weapon getting the dreaded triangle exclamation mark, which indicates that all 3 of his qualifying laps were dirty, the best of which was 122.760. Put him in the back. 121.716 there for Magnolia. Born as Ghost, 119.692. Salty Bonkos with a 119.240. A 121 double Ott 4 there for Slipstream. IPR Wolf at a 119.933. 118.734 for Carbon. That is going to be good enough for row number 2. P3, I think. 124.82 for Slow Motion Fire. Odd Drex with a cool 119.860. A 124.043 for Grem. 27.13 for Kuda. 19.980 for Funtang. DOR Hocus with a 122. Corbin with a 119.058. Chaos Fox with a 124.96. DTR Maverick at a 119. Presto Esbesto also with a dirty lap, as we saw Presto get turned around there on the first lap out. D-Fire with a 126.592. You see the disparity in times, folks, and the rationale or the reason for that being that there is a great wealth of diverse skill levels out here on the track. We've got drivers who you will find in pro racing competitions like the Forza Racing Championship, all the way down to folks who are saying, hey, you know what? I play Forza Motorsport every now and again. I want to be a part of an organized league. That way I don't have to go into the multiplayer hoppers and press my luck with who I'm going to get in there. Well, that's okay too. As long as you know how to race clean, that's all they ask of you here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, and you'll be welcome back week after week. With that being said, let's now go over to DOR Hocus, who has joined us here in the driver's spotlight in between qualifying ahead of the race out here at the Silverstone track. DOR Hocus, as I take a look here, I see you at a 122.546. Happy with your time?
Nope.
Nope.
Not at all.
What?
That was my first lap.
What went wrong?
Rain.
The rain. So that's interesting. A couple of the drivers last week, as we were previewing week number 4, they said the rain shouldn't matter too much. We've got treaded tires here on the Pontiac Solstice GXP. Of course, that might be the difference between knowing how to prepare this vehicle for the rain and maybe not so much. So do you think it's a lack of knowing how to prepare the car, or just generally the car is just getting out of your grips? It's something that just is going to happen to you no matter what.
It was a lack of staying off the painted parts of the track. The painted parts of the track are way more slipperier than the asphalt.
Yeah. Yeah, they most certainly are. You get the water pooled up there on the slick painted pieces, and that gets you turned around quick. Not as quick as Presto Esbesto, though, who had the infield section turned around quite quickly in that one. How do you feel when you get put toward the back of the pack with your qualifying times? You're not at the very back of the pack, because we've got a couple of drivers with dirty laps, but do you think that actually kind of works to your advantage a little bit? You could see the field more clearly at the beginning of the race. You don't have a bunch of cars behind you, and you can kind of plan your maneuvering there, or would you rather be a lot further forward?
I would rather be a lot further forward. It's a little bit hard to pass, especially in the rain and stuff like that. So that'll be a little bit of an issue, but as far as being in the back, I don't mind. That's where I belong.
And as we look at the field, it looks like an upwards of 22 drivers, very, very close to a full grid here. Top 20, top 15, where you want to be out here at Silverstone when the checker flag drops?
I would love to be at least in the top 15, aiming for top 12. Hopefully I can get up that far.
Okay. All right. Any shout-outs maybe to the DOR team or anybody else here who's watching us tonight?
Shout out to everybody. Everybody that's in the chat. What's up?
What's up? What's going on, you guys and gals there in the chat? This is D.O.R. Hocus says in our driver spotlight. Thank you very much for joining us in here, D.O.R. Hocus, and best of luck to you in the race as we get ready now for what is going to be 22 laps, our most laps of the week or of the evening. Granted, as we head out to VIR, much longer track, almost twice the distance, and so we'll be almost halving the number of laps in that race. Matt 661 is here. Crimson is here. Zolu saying hello, everyone. And I think I got that name pronounced correctly. Zolu, welcome to the broadcast. Great to have you here as we get ready for racing in week number 4 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. And yes, we are at 22 drivers. We're just one shy of a full grid. And we'll get things going here pretty quickly as drivers make their final little adjustments to the vehicle. And unless I missed something, it should be AMS Udakan on pole. And what happens here, and has been happening over the last 2.5 seasons, is the pole sitter is actually the one who dictates the start of the race. They will stay on the grid for the first 10 seconds. They will not move. Nobody moves. And then after that 10-second mark, the pole sitter has 10 more seconds to decide when they want to start the race. When they start the race is dictated by the very smallest amount of movement that their car has. And as soon as they show movement, everybody else is free to depart and get to racing. That's how it goes. So just another thing for you to get familiar with as you decide if you're going to be racing here in the FM4 series or not. If not, then at least it's good information to have as we get started, and you're not just wondering why everybody's just sitting still when the camera comes to the race. It's going to be AMS Udakan and Carbon there. Row number 1, row 2 goes to Kraterum and DTR Maverick, followed by SGR Corvette, Salty Bonkos, Born as Ghost, and Audrex there on row number 4, followed by IPR Wolf and Foontang, Fear the Fun, all the way back there on row number 6, sharing space with Slow Motion Fire, LSEM Chaos Fox and Kuda back behind them, Slipstream Magnolia, row number 10, and then Megachin, DOR Hocus, Grim, D-Fire, Modern Weapon, Presto's Besto, are 17th through 22nd. Slow Motion Fire giving us the cue there in the pit lane, saying, "Here we go, getting ready." I hope you all are having I hope you're having a great week, at least a good start to it, as we get ready for Hump Day, middle of the week, Wednesday. We'll have Wildcard Wednesday tomorrow here on Virtual Autosport, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, here we go. We hear a little bit of engine noise there out of Carbon's car. You see just over there to the left, that's going to be Udakan. We'll get off the hood view here as soon as they launch. And kick the tires, light the fires. AMS Udakan gets things underway out here at Silverstone, the International Circuit, for season number 33, week number 4 of the Forza Spec Racing Series in the Pontiac GXP Solstice. Into turn number 1, they go. It's Kopse up to Maggots here, and then they'll head into the infield section. Udakan already with a good 3 to 4 car length lead, with in second position Carbon. Followed in third is Kratrium. Then it's Maverick, Corvid, Salty Bonkos, Audrex, Born as Ghost, IPR Wolf, and Foontang round out the top 10. Here they get out onto the straightaway after a couple of the chicanes, and AMS Udakan is kicking cones all over the track. That calls for some Shadow 288 cones there in the chat. Go ahead and drop those in there if you've got them, because Udakan's certainly not afraid to kick them out. And down the straightaway they go, and Carbon looks to be sporting a very similar, if not the same, paint job as Udakan out there. It's pretty interesting. It looks like they're sharing the same. I could be wrong. Kratrium, let's go to DTR Maverick there, as they both started out on row number 2, and they maintain position next to each other. And as a matter of fact, going side by side here into the entry for Luffield. And then that's going to be back up to Woodcote and the start-finish line for the beginning of lap number 2. There we go, 661. Mr. Matt's got it. He's got it figured out. That's when you use that emote. Single file now through Kopse once again. It's DTR Maverick in 5th. Back behind him, that's Salty Bonkos. Corvid was able to move up a spot there. Let's go to Kratrium, who's in 3rd, right there on the heels of Carbon. And kicking up the rain there a bit. We've got moderate rain falling. That was going to be a given no matter what in this race. Then it changes over to a 40% chance of drizzle here at midway through. And then that'll conclude with just overcast skies. 100% chance. No kidding. The rain will stop. It'll just be overcast. We'll see how much of the track dries out there in those few remaining laps as they go back through the infield again. And look at that, just a big old slew of cars, first through 22nd, back there from Abbey Curve back to Maggots. And they get ready to conclude lap number 2 of 22 here in this first race of the evening, race number 7 of the season. Let's go back to sixth place with SVR Salty Bonkos, representing the Solar Vision Racing team out here, not only tonight, but all throughout the season. He's got DTR Maverick out in front of him here as they come back up to the start-finish line, minding the track limits there. Nobody swinging out too wide onto the runoff surface. And, of course, C500 here with these 265 horsepower Pontiac. And there goes Salty Bonkos. What a move there on Maverick as they were heading into the left-hander, and he's got it. At least for now. Let's see as the camera pulls out. Yep, he's closed the door there on Maverick and is out in front. And now he's going to start tracking down Corvid here in 4th position. Nicely done. Nicely done, Salty Bonkos. It's Udakan, our overall points leader here in Season 33, out in front. Carbon in 2nd, Cratrim in 3rd, Corbin in 4th, Salty Bonkos now up to 5th with Maverick back to 6th. Audrex, who is 7th overall, check that, 6th overall on the leaderboard, currently 7th out on the circuit. IPR Wolf in 8th, Fear the Fawn in 9th, Born as Ghost in 10th, Foontang has dropped back to 11th, Hocus has moved up to 12th now, LSM Chaos Fox in 13th position, and we've got a car who's well off the circuit. That is going to be... And into pit lane it appears at that. Is that Audrex? No, Audrex remains out on the track with the Wu-Tang car. I'm trying to get it, but the timing is messing with us here. I want to know who is into pit lane. It looks like it could be Magnolia. No, Magnolia is still out on the track. It is SGR Corvid, who is 2nd on the leaderboard, the overall points leaderboard, and needs every race, every single point to try to keep within reach of the championship. And this is not how you want to start week number 4 out. Granted, there is a drop week in every single Forza Spec Racing series, this one being no different. And worst case scenario, I suppose, for Corvid, this will be exactly that. But who knows? He's got plenty of time to make it up. And and he's telling us there in the pit lane, the Twitch chat, that his controller disconnected. Not good. Here's Carbon as we watch from the front bumper of Cratrim. Carbon is trying to keep pace with Udakan, and he is. Udakan telling us a little bit earlier on in the season, out there specifically at Road America, that he was kind of sandbagging a little bit, admitted to it, saying, hey, I wanted to make it interesting. I wanted to keep the action going up the front of the pack, and I'm not certain whether that's the case right now. Perhaps we'll grab Udakan here in between races, get him in the driver's spotlight. Maybe the rain is messing with him. Underneath the Silverstone Bridge. And looking back there, you see Salty Bonkos now in 4th. So he got around Maverick for 5th and now moves up to 4th. Audrex in 6th, Wolf in 7th. Fear the Fun has gained a position to 8th. Let's go to Fear the Fun in that Hypermax car. Love the paint job. The drivers doing their best not only to perform for us. Well, they're not doing it for us. They're doing it for themselves. But they're doing a great job performing for us, whether they want to or not. But then also making their cars look good out there on the track. Decking them out with some liveries in the off-season, preparing for each season. And there goes Fear the Fun now with IPR Wolf out there kind of on his own. There's DOR Hocus in the background in 9th position. And so Hocus making a great run. I was asking him, hey, top 20, top 15? He's like, no, top 10. Heck, let's go for top, 8, top 5. Let's go up to DTR Maverick in 5th, who still has Salty Boncos. DTR Maverick, speaking of liveries, they're in one of the more comical ones, the flex tape car, and how appropriate with the rain falling here. He's got the flex tape on to make sure that he's not getting any rain underneath that canvas top on the Pontiac Solstice. Let's go back up to Carbon in 2nd position, and let's go right on board with him for a lap around the international circuit here of Silverstone. There goes Udakan, 4 wheels up onto the curbing. Into that final right-hander. And to the line. Thanks for tuning in here on a Tuesday night. There are many places that you could be, not only here on Twitch, but elsewhere in the world, although those are a lot more few and far between than they were maybe a month or two ago. But happy that you choose this broadcast here tonight. We've got obviously the conclusion of this one here is we're not even halfway through it, but then Virginia International Raceway, 14 laps around that track coming up next, including the qualifying, before we wrap things up here in week number 4, heading into the finale, the capstone, week number 5, out at Prague. AMS Udakan now starting to establish a bit more of a lead here over Carbon. Through the S as they go. And yes, it would seem that Udakan and Carbon are sharing liveries here. How nice of them. Kraytrim in 3rd, Salty Boncos in 4th, Maverick 5th, Audrex is 6th, IPR Wolf in 7th, Fear the Fun in 8th. Let's go to DOR Hocus now, who's going to challenge Fear the Fun and is going to do so on the racing surface where Fear the Fun is out in no man's land, brings it back out onto the track, almost brings the passenger side door panel into the front left quarter panel there of Hocus, and Hocus probably thinking, yeah, I'm right here, dude. Look out for me. And so they'll go single file up into the right-hander, out of Maggots and onto this little semi-straightaway section here before you hook a right into the infield. The barrier that was up during qualifying there off to the left has come down here for the race as the Forza race regulations are turned on, keeping the drivers in check to ensure that they're not cutting the track all that much. Back behind DOR Hocus in 10th is Chaos Fox. Chaos Fox moving up into the top 10. Kuda, look at that. Kuda in 11th position. Slow Motion Fire in 12th. Foontang in 13th. Slipstream in 14th. Mega Chin, Modern Weapon, Born as Ghost, Magnolia, Corvid, Presto's Besto, Grim, and D-Fire make up 14th through 22nd. All 22 drivers who started out on the track. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I know we say it all the time, and then inevitably somebody drops. That's not what we want to see. Hold strong, internet connection. Hold strong. Back up to 3rd position with Kraytrim, who sits behind Carbon. Kagamusha in the house. Welcome, Kaga. Hello back. If I had a camera, I would wave back to you, but I don't. Well, I do, but I just don't use it. There's no point. You guys don't need to see my ugly mug on screen. We don't need to turn viewers away. We need to attract the viewers. All right, here comes Kraytrim in 3rd position now, starting to fall off the back there of Carbon. The sky is starting to clear up, although the raindrops continue to fall, so this might be that 40% drizzle that was forecasted. we might be getting that drizzle here as we approach the end of lap number 9, beginning of lap 10 in this 22-lapper. Civic Element is here. Welcome, Civic. And since our top 3 have dissipated a little bit in terms of the competitiveness, let's go back to our folks in 10th through 13th, maybe even 14th there. Let's ride here with Slow Motion Fire, who's tucked in between Chaos Fox in 11th and Foontang, who is in 13th. Slow Motion Fire in the No Coast Brewing Company car. Always putting together a delicious looking livery on his vehicles. And as a matter of fact, it's a little homage to the moon landing, is it? No Coast have a moon themed beer, or maybe an astronaut themed beer. Down the straightaway they go. Rooster Tails still in full effect. Perhaps here as we head toward the end of the race, as it's expected to dry up, it might get dry enough that we won't see these puddles and we won't have the Rooster Tails anymore, and perhaps add a little bit more grip to the cars. Although, again, as we were talking earlier in this race, Dior Hokus telling us that the car was just getting loose from him on the painted surfaces, more specifically the curbing. If you keep it on the asphalt, a little bit more grip, and there goes Slow Motion Fire getting a bump from behind from Foontang. Foontang, a long-time participant here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. And as predictable as always, they're in the NVIDIA blue and magenta and green. He's got a mix of all the colors. He usually goes for either green or magenta, and now he's got both. Hoping that they'll bring him good luck. And here comes Slow Motion Fire, almost giving Kuda a little bit of a love tap there on the back of the Solstice. The Michelin Solstice there for Kuda. Kuda telling us there in the pit lane earlier. And there goes Foontang to the inside of Slow Motion Fire. And it looks like he's got it coming out of Maggots here onto the straightaway in the infield. And sure enough, Foontang is going to make the pass. And will he get double passed as Slipstream now closes in on Slow Motion Fire? Go to our Virtual Autosport Instant Replay, or Virtual Autosport Rewind. There's Slow Motion Fire getting close to Kuda. And then that little scenario there is what opened up the door for Slipstream, and now Slipstream back to 14th. Opened up the door for Foontang. That's the name I'm looking for. And who do we have as a back marker? We've got D-Fire back here, getting approached by lead lap traffic. Let's go to 17th position with Modern Weapon. What's up there, T-Phrase? T-Phrase, you and I, we got to chat. And before I do that, let me go ahead and pull the rewind down so you guys don't have to see that for the umpteenth time. Modern Weapon here with Born as Ghost in front, and Megachin and Corvid. Corvid, who second overall on the leaderboard with 187 points. Oh, look at that. Chaos Fox getting gifted a sub from T-Phrase. T-Phrase with the Tier 1 subscription to LSEM Chaos Fox. How nice. Thank you so much for that. Back up to second with Carbon. Who is trying to find a way around Udakan now with about a 3.5 car gap between he and Udakan here. And there comes Cratrium. This trio here has separated themselves from fourth and beyond. which is occupied right now by Salty Bonkos, DTR Maverick, Audrex in 6th, IPR Wolf in 7th, Fear the Fun all the way up to 8th position. Let's go to DOR Hocus in 9th, behind Fear the Fun. Fear the Fun, who's trying to turn things around after saying that last week, week number 3, might very well be his drop week. Corona Vera saying, "Neum, neum." Welcome, Corona. Our little grouping, our little gaggle back there from 10th on to 15th has shifted a little bit again. LSCM Chaos Fox in 10th. Foontang, who made that pass a little bit earlier ago, in 11th, has gotten around Kuda. Slipstream is in 13th now with Slow Motion Fire in 14th. SGR Corvid is catching up with that grouping and can maybe make a few passes here to gather some points. And that way, if this does not end up being his drop week, although I find that hard to believe, but if it's not, then at least trying to eke out every single point he can get. The points, everything you need to know about how the points are assigned over there at reddit.com/r/FM4, where you can also get involved and learn more here about the Forza Spec Racing Series. Lap number 14. And it's coming to a close here for our podium drivers as they come around Woodcote, triggering lap 15 up there in the upper left. 8 laps remaining in this 22-lap race. And here's Corvid, who is getting closer and closer. Let's go ahead and hop on board here with Corvid. See what he's going to make possible here with Kuda, Slipstream, and Slow Motion Fire out in front of him. Slipstream's going to run wide. That's going to allow Slow Motion Fire to reclaim 13th. And actually, no, they're going to go side by side down the straightaway. Now here to the inside comes Corvid. He's going to try to make the double pass happen as they head back into Copse. And there he goes. Corvid, as we watch from above, a double pass, moves up to 13th position. Now sets his sight on Kuda in 12th. Then you see out there a little bit more in the distance is Foontang and Chaos Fox. Corvid trying to get into the top 10. As we hop back to that Virtual Auto Sports Rewind. Presented by nobody. If there's anybody who's watching who would love to present the Virtual Auto Sports Rewind, my email's down below. Oh, we've got a car turned around. Who is that? That's going to be D-Fire, our 22nd place driver, and maybe he's not so much turned around as he's just kind of parked there waiting for traffic to go ahead and scoot on past. And now our race leader, Udakan, is starting to approach even more of the back markers. Let's go to second here with Carbon, who, if Udakan gets slowed up, might be able to close this gap again. And somebody who is closing the gap is Kratrum. And then even back to 4th position, Salty Bonkos, not too far off. DWM Frog there in the Twitch chat saying, good move, good move. Zolux with the Pog. And Matt6661 saying, nicely done, Corvid. Epic, says Corona Vera. Foon up to 10th, says Bouncing Barman. Yeah, we've got a lot of movers and shakers out here in this one. Early on with 6.5 laps to go for the majority of folks. Closing in on 5 to go here for our leaders. And that's going to be Grem there in 21st position. Carbon's going to have to scoot on past him, and through Copse he will, as Grimm takes the outside line. And the gap is maybe closed in a little bit. Let's see what happens here going into the right-hander, and they've got D-Fire, who continues to hold himself out on the well off the racing surface. And again, if you'd like to participate in the Forza Spec Racing Series, you don't have to be one of the quicker drivers in the community. You just have to know what your skill level is, and that means making way for other drivers as they approach you if you're lap traffic. You don't have to necessarily go completely off the track like we saw D-Fire there do, but something akin to what Grimm did, which was stay off the racing line and allow Carbon to get on past. So in third is Cratrim, fourth is Salty Bonkos, fifth is DTR Maverick all by himself, Audrex in sixth, IPR Wolf in seventh, DRR Hocus is behind Fear the Fun in eighth, Hocus in ninth, and actually there goes DRR Hocus sliding out of Maggots and up to eighth position. Fear the Fun gonna have to try to get that one back. Let's see if he can do it. Now here comes Fear the Fun. He's going to take the inside line into Woodcote. That's going to run Hocus a little bit out onto the runoff area and up onto the curbing. Fear the Fun, though, ducks back behind. Going to use a little bit of that slipstream as the track remains wet. The showers have come to an end, however, and so here are these last 4.5 laps for our top three. We may very well see this track start to dry up a little bit, and that could give us some last lap heroics from some of these drivers. Back in 10th is Foontang, who has moved up into the top 10. SGR Corvette is now into 11th position. He definitely is trying to get into the top 10, maybe even higher here in these remaining 4.5. Here comes Corvid with Chaos Fox. D-Fire there in 22nd. Looks like he's gone ahead and retired himself from this race, although he still hangs out there on the corner of Maggots, and we'll probably see him here in the Virginia International Raceway event coming up next after this. And there goes Corvid to the inside of Chaos Fox. Gives him a little bit of a shove there on the passenger door and scoots on past. He's going to complete the pass here into turn number 1, lap number 19. 22 laps, 4 to go. Now with Foontang up ahead. And again, if this ends up being Corvid's drop week, this all could be for nothing. But it's a good showing nonetheless. He'll go ahead and grab him some spots, even if the points are nullified after they take the worst week in terms of points for each individual driver and go ahead and throw it out the window, taking your top 4 of the 5 weeks. The 5th week being a double the points race, and it concludes with the 69-lapper around Prague short circuit. Here comes Corvid closing in again, or continues to close in on Foontang after that move around Chaos Fox. As we see that one there in the virtual Autosports Rewind. See potential sponsors, it gets plenty of views. Put your logo there on it. Here comes Corbin. And across the line they go, beginning of lap number 20. Udakan continues to lead the race with Carbon in second, Cratrim in third, Salty Bonkos in fourth, Maverick in fifth, Audrex in sixth, Wolf in seventh, Fear the Fun in eighth, Hocus in ninth, Foontang in 10th. And we're going to go take a look here at Fear the Fun in just a minute, if not a couple of seconds, as we await Corvid's maneuver, his pass here on Foontang. He's going to do it on the outside, onto the straightaway, but he can't because he's got grass out there in front of him. Foontang closing the door, making him duck back onto the rear bumper of the NVIDIA GXP. And yes, the rooster tails have stopped as we start to see some dry spots out here on the track. Not the driving line. It works in mysterious ways here in the world of Forza Motorsport 7. And now Corvid gonna try to make the pass as he'll be on the outside through the left-hander, then the inside through the right, and just like that makes the move, and into 10th goes Corvid. Up to Fear the Fun, and actually, well, that's IPR Wolf. Let's go to DOR Hocus, who has, not by choice, dropped back to 9th position. Fear the Fun getting up onto the curbing. That allows him to kind of pivot the car, rotate the car into the corner there for turn number 3. But Hocus had a much cleaner, much smoother line. And let's see here as they are halfway through lap number 21. And our leader coming across the line right now. White flag flies for Udakan, Carbon, Cratrium. Matt 6661 saying solid driving by everybody in the rain. 265 horsepower Pontiac GXPs with an equal amount of torque. 2,882 curb. 2,882 pounds of curb weight, vehicle weight. And here they go across the line. The white flag flies for both Fear the Fun and Dior Hocus, and it looks like he got Fear the Fun maybe a little bit squirrely, loosened up the back end. Here comes Fear the Fun now kicking up a little bit of the dirt, as the dirt has apparently dried up out here at Silverstone, and now into the right-hander. It looks like Hocus was going to gun for it, but he backs off, allows Fear the Fun to go ahead and take it, and into the final corners goes Udakan, Carbon, and Cratrium, 1, 2, and 3 respectively, and that's how those three will finish out the race with Salty Bacos back there in 4th. Here comes Hocus, going to go ahead and keep it right behind Fear the Fun, down the back straightaway, or the infield straightaway, coming up to where Abbey Curve would be. Again, I think this is an older version of the International Circuit. Fear the Fun's going to take the middle line through that right-hander. And now let's see what happens here as they come up to the chicane. Going to have to go ahead and throw the brakes on. You see the brake discs up front glow a little bit. And will Hocus have a run at Fear the Fun? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Fear the Fun closing in on the apex there, blocks him, and across the line they come. Fear the Fun in 8th, Hocus in 9th. In 7th position, IPR Wolf Audrex in 6th. DTR Maverick in 5th. Back behind them, let's go to 15th with Slow Motion Fire, who is back behind Slipstream in 14th and is not going to be able to make that pass. Kuda in 13th position. LSEM Chaos Fox in 12th. 11th goes to Funtang. And then a little bit further back, Magnolia in 18th position, trying to make a pass. Not going to be able to make it happen as they come across the line. It's going to be Mega Chin in 17th, Magnolia in 18th, Modern Weapon in 19th, Presto is Besto, Grim, D-Fire are 20th, 21st, and 22nd, folks. And there you go. Just like that, race number 7 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 33, has come to an end out here at Silverstone, the International Circuit. When we come back, we'll have qualifying, Virginia International Raceway. It'll be a sunny one, and it'll be a bright one. Not dark, no rain whatsoever, at a very, very complex track. The full circuit, all 3.27 miles, 14 laps after the 3-lap qualifier. We're going to go ahead and roll some commercial breaks. That allows folks who join us here in a little bit to avoid the pre-roll ads. It also allows me to go ahead and take a tally of where everybody finished. Stay right here. Don't go anywhere. And we'll talk to some of our drivers here in the driver spotlight. Drivers, you know what to do. Go over to that queue for interview section there in Discord. I'll pull you into the broadcast booth. You're watching the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 33. I'm Dustin Moore, live on Virtual Autosports and Twitch TV. happen here. They're hot on the brakes. Koenigsegg, yep, he's got the advantage, but unironically, the average ducks to the inside. What a move! But Koenigsegg accelerating back on the outside. And there goes Salty Bonkos to the inside. Bashing door panels, sparks flying, smoke spraying. The Butler is going to go wide. Salty Bonkos on the inside. They're a little bit off the pace, but now accelerating all 500 horsepower. And welcome back to Virtual Auto Sports here live on Twitch TV. Thanks to those of you who had ads and stuck them through and stayed with them, because obviously that supports the channel and all the things that we're able to do here on the broadcast, and allows folks to, again, avoid the pre-roll ads as they join us for the rest of the broadcast. I'm Dustin Moore, and we have just concluded things out at the Silverstone International Circuit, getting ready to get out to qualifying at Virginia International Raceway. AMS Uticon coming away with the win, with Carbon and Cray-Trim trailing behind for the entirety of that race in second and third, Salty and Maverick fourth and fifth. And back to the driver's spotlight we go. We've got Dio Arhokas, and Dio Arhokas, yes, I'm eating crow because I completely undersold your ability there, saying, oh yeah, top 20, top 15, and then here you come with a top 10 finish. They're in, let's see, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth position, it looks like?
Ninth.
Well done. So you were able to stay off the painted bits this time.
For the most part, yes.
Was there anything different you did in terms of your driving line? Was that the adjustment that you made, or was it just being a little bit more careful with the car?
Being a little bit more careful. I got a really good start, looking straight up the middle. As soon as I saw the top car at the front go, I left. I made up 4 spots off the start, and I got behind Fear, and Fear was hard to pass. Me and Fear had a lot of fun on that one.
You did, and we saw that battle going on throughout the race there, especially at the midpoint and even toward the latter half there. You were up into 8th position, but what was the mistake that you made that allowed Fear the Fun to get back up into 8th?
The painted parts.
Oh yeah. So you learned your lesson, but just not enough.
Not enough, yeah.
And so now we dry things out, heading out to VIR. Of course, we go from a track that had precipitation, a lot more room to move, maneuver there on the tarmac, to now a track that is synonymous with all the grass that's around it and all the room for error and mistakes. Do you change your tune any, or is it all just in your mind and your driving style here at Virginia International Raceway, the full track?
I will be changing it a little bit, not too much. But the one thing that I do want to change would be the livery. I want to change it to like a John Deere-ish.
That's
maybe.
right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think you and I had that conversation where you said you were going to be a John Deere vehicle out here with the GXP. That being said, I don't want to be the one to say that, because like I said, I was eating crow there as you jumped up into the top 10, well beyond the top 20, top 15. Now that you have a chance to redo qualifying here tonight after Silverstone is behind us, where do you want to see yourself on the grid for the start at VIR?
I'll be happy with the top 15 for the starting grid. During practice, there was a lot of guys that were a lot faster than me on this track.
And after that race out there at Silverstone, where you fell just behind Fear the Fun, do you reenact that battle there? Are you looking to take this one from, pardon me, from Fear?
I would love to.
I'm just stirring the pot. Just stir the pot. Come on, Fear, get in there. Let's talk about how you're going to take down Hocus. But no, Hocus, thank you so much. Appreciate, again, your commentary, and we'll look to see what you do there in qualifying.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and now let's go ahead and pull in SGR Corbett, who you were telling us there in the pit lane that you had a controller disconnect in that race, only a lap or two in, able to muster a top 10 finish in 10th position out in front of Funtang, Chaos Fox, and Kuda. That was a hard charge, but is this looking to be your drop week now?
So I believe that if nothing happens to Huracan in this race, he clinches, because I had a P4 finish earlier in the season. So even with this being my drop week, I won't have enough going into the last round. So
what SGR Corbett is actually saying for you all is that week 5 will be immensely exciting, so don't miss it. Don't think that anybody's clinched the championship after tonight.
Oh, no, we're going to race like it's up for grabs still.
Yeah. SGR Corbett.
If not, we're going to race harder because there's nothing to lose.
That's true. That's true. Like, it's already a fun kind of beer league in and of itself, but then once you've realized that maybe somebody's already clinched a championship, well, then what more reason do you have to get out there and just go crazy, go ham, than to say, hey, I can't win it anyway?
Yeah, exactly. And that's proven true in the past few seasons where there's been a clinch in the round prior and the last race is just all out. No one giving anyone any quarter in there. Immensely amusing. So
talking with SGR Corbett here in the driver spotlight, finishing 10th out at Silverstone, the international circuit. Obviously, something like a controller disconnect, that is video gamer troubles. That's esport troubles, problems, and all that. We don't see that in the real world. What is the Corvid preparation for race day that maybe you didn't take this evening that would have normally prevented something like that?
I'm pretty sure it was just interference with my receiver. I've put new batteries and everything in, and it is kind of similar to something that happens in real world racing, because I believe the last year that Dale Jr. was racing, he had his steering wheel fall off. So
well, there you go. I like that analogy. Your steering wheel fell off.
Yeah, I mean, they're solstices. It's probably a known problem with them. Let's be honest here.
General Motors, sure. Yeah, it may be something that it's not a stretch of the imagination there. Talking again with SGR Corbett here in the driver's spotlight as we get ready to go out to VIR. A lot of folks maybe have a little disdain for this track. They loathe VIR because, one, it pops up pretty frequently within the multiplayer lobby. Do you hate this track, or do you actually kind of have a passion for it?
I like this layout of it. There's so many layouts, and most of them utilize the absolute garbage Patriot layout, which is designed for go-karts. So the fact that those layouts are in Forza is kind of a not great representation of VIR. Mm-hmm. But this actual full layout that they run sports cars on normally is one of my favorites in the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to it, and of course, this track is infamous for all its different series that it's held. I believe IndyCar's been out here, Formula One. Gosh, I'm sorry, what was that?
IMSA.
Yeah, IMSA obviously has been out here. So this track
NASCAR has run here too.
NASCAR, yeah, you've got NASCAR Corner. They're going into turn number, I think, 3 it is, or NASCAR Bend. So a lot of different series have been out here, and a track that is historic here in America racing. Specifically like Oak Tree Corner, like that's the corner that everybody knows, the big old horseshoe there at the end of the circuit.
Rest in peace, Oak Tree.
What's that?
Rest in peace, Oak Tree.
Yeah, rest in peace, Oak Tree, because it doesn't the tree doesn't exist anymore. Corvid, best of luck to you here in our second race of the evening. Of course, we'll get qualifying going first, and we'll see where you finish there.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and there we go. So we'll go ahead and let Corvid get back into the lobby and ready up, as we've got the same 22 drivers who raced in our first race getting ready to go on the next one here out at VIR, and this will be our last two race evening here in season 33, because the finale a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, is just the one race out there at Prague, the short track, which is the only fantasy track here on the schedule this season. And Crimson saying, spectate, please. Thank you, Crimson. I appreciate that. I don't know what's wrong with my spectate game tonight. It's not on point. I would have checked it, though, after we hopped out of the interview. I say that, but I probably wouldn't have. All right, here we go. They're all readied up, and out we go to the track. Again, the sun is shining. There is no precipitation to contend with. It's a nice dry track, and we'll see how the drivers carve around the corners, all 17 of them, starting with the horseshoe, turn number 1, after this kind of crooked straightaway. It's got a bit of a bend to it. They don't count it as a corner here, VIR. Some tracks would have counted it, like Road America. They've got a couple of oddly numbered corners there. And I don't mean the number itself is odd. It's just weird that they call them corners. But coming out of turn number 1 here up to, when I say weird corners, we've got one right here, turn 2, and then it's into turn 3. NASCAR bend the left into left hook, which is turn number 4. And then we start our little snake entry there with 5A, 6, 6A, on up to 7. Starting to go uphill a little bit. You do have a little bit of an elevation change out here at VIR before you get over to Oak Tree, and then you really have a bit more of an elevation increase and incline on the back part of the track out at Madison Avenue, the back straightaway heading into Roller Coaster, and then you drop back down, and adequately or appropriately so, with Roller Coaster there at 14A heading into Hogpen for turn 17, the right-hander toward the front straight for the end of the lap. And out here in front is going to be Magnolia, who's showing up for the first time here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Good to see new drivers join in, new names, new gamer tags. Carbon there, who came in second in our race out at Silverstone, running there currently with the third time, but that just means the third largest amount of time out on the track right now, as judged by when they cross the start-finish line. It doesn't matter. What we're paying attention to is the quickest lap. And we'll get those stats for you there in the left-hand corner. As Carbon comes now out of 14A, down Roller Coaster. And there's Hogpen now to the front straightaway. The beginning of the first flying lap. Born as Ghost is going to be out there. Going to be the first one to cross the line. And thanks to all the folks who are hanging out with us here on the broadcast, the Twitch channel. And if you're watching this back on demand, I appreciate that as well. For those of you who may have missed a little bit of our coverage here tonight, we'll have the rerun following this broadcast. I say immediately, but it takes about 10 minutes or so for Twitch to process the broadcast to where I can actually run it back. So if you did miss a little bit of it and you want to watch it back live with some of the drivers who hang out in our chat and chat it up a little bit there in the pit lane, then feel free to do so. We'll get that rerun going, and then you can see what you might have missed. And then, of course, all of our Forza Spec Racing Series broadcast here, stretched back to season 30, I think, we have still on file. The older ones, they've fallen into the archives well beyond our viewing capability, so we only go back so far. And as I mentioned here at the top of the broadcast, is after our 3050 event on Sunday, we will run them all back, weeks 1 through 4 of the Forza Spec Racing Series season number 33. So after 3050, if you just haven't satiated your Forza racing needs on a Sunday, then hang tight after 3050 and we'll get that throwback broadcast going. Throwback to the rest of the season. We're not going that far back in time. Dapper Turtle, Dino Dado in the chat. T-Phrase is here. Funk House. Matt 6661 still hanging out with us. Civic Element there as well. If you're watching, don't be a stranger. Say hello, even if you want to alert for the rest of the broadcast. And then, more importantly, if you are enjoying yourself here, then please click that follow button like V Snowtail did about 12 minutes ago. And that way we can acknowledge that you've done the very most of my expectations by following the broadcast. That's like the most that I ask of any of our viewers, that if you enjoy the content, then please click that follow button, because it lets me know that I'm doing something right, and then as we go live in the future, you'll be able to more easily find the channel. Our subscribers are those who go above and beyond, and T-Phrase earlier giving that Tier 1 subscription there to LSC and Chaos Fox. Appreciate those. Carbon right now with a 2:07.905, the quickest time, and across the line they go for the beginning of the third lap, the second flying lap here out at VIR, and there goes Megachin, who's going to mega slide out of turn number 1, the hairpin, or the horseshoe. Let's go to SGR Corvid, who currently has the 9th quickest time, probably looking to do a little bit better, as he was telling us there in the driver's spotlight before qualifying that unless something goes wrong here with Udakan, that he, being Udakan, might very well have this season locked up. That doesn't mean the racing is going to be any less exciting moving forward. If anything, it gives folks all the more reason to be a bit more aggressive, knowing that you can't rip it from his hands if he hasn't locked up. He being Udakan, and if that happens to be the case, then Udakan will have the pick of the 700-odd cars that are in Forza Motorsport 7 to decide which one will be run in season number 34, which is one of the perks of winning the championship. You get the bragging rights, the typical bragging rights that come with winning a community-based league. But then you also get to decide, because this is a spec season or a spec series where there is just one model out on the track. You win the championship, then you decide what everybody's driving for the next 5 weeks in season 34. Go Carbon, says Dino Dado. And Matt 6661 saying he's on it tonight. He is. He just couldn't get around Udakan there on race number 7, but right now he's going to be on the pole spot for the beginning of the VIR race. Second quickest time is in the hands of Cratrim, Corvid with the 3rd, Salty Bonkos, Udakan in 5th. And this is what did Udakan in out at the Nürburgring Nordschleife for race number 6 of season 33 was he had a bad qualifying time. Granted, there was just the one lap around the Nordschleife, as big a track that is. Had a bad, dirty lap, which is not difficult to do on the Nordschleife, and that put him toward the back of the pack, and he had to work his way up through the field. He might have to do the same here tonight if his 3rd qualifying time is not quicker, and actually he dials in with the 2nd quickest time. Cratrim now with a 2:07.498. So as it stands right now, Cratrim will be on pole with Udakan opposite of him. Row number 2 will go to Carbon and Salty Bonkos, followed by Corbin and Maverick on row 3. Row 4 will be Fear the Fun and Hocus. Row 8, Wolf and, row 5 will be Wolf and Slipstream. Of course, that continues to change as drivers set their time. AMS Udakan saying borked it at the first sector. Oh well. But still, to be in row number 1 is much better than where you were before finishing your 3rd flying lap or your 3rd qualifying lap. All right, as everybody finishes things up here, let's go ahead and bring in the big-time tooth guy, Mr. T-Phrase, who's broadcast with us here before on Virtual Autosports. T-Phrase, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much.
Not much, but a little Forza Spec Racing Series here on a Tuesday night, eh?
Yeah, I've got GTA on one side and Forza Spec on the other side. It's pretty good.
Very cool, very cool. What do you make of season 33 here? What of the season that you've caught? What do you make of Udakan's dominance through 6 of the 7 races at this point?
You know, I really do like to see the skill level of some of these better drivers that do pop in every once in a while. Him, Slapsabella's come in before and dominated. Mm-hmm. One guy that has kind of got away because he's actually racing in real life, and now my his name is slipping my mind. But anyways, we've had a couple that have just popped in, won, and popped out because they've got other stuff to do. But sometimes, when you don't have a lot of the bigger competition series going on, you can put forth some effort, some time to this, and just practice. And like I said last time, it's just a way to hone in more skills and do other things and learn. Because in order to learn how to drive a fast car, you have to drive a slow car first.
Very true, and there's no better way to learn handling and precision than with a slow car, and then gradually moving upward from that. Talking with T-Phrase here in the driver's spotlight. He's not driving here in season number 33, but has definitely jumped in with us here during the broadcast throughout the season to chime in a little bit. Carbon, who is I think a relatively new participant here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, just hasn't found his way around Uticon there, but who knows what happens in forthcoming seasons. So whenever we have a champion and a new car is selected, it really is a toss-up in terms of who's gonna do well. I mean, you would think that the driver who is picking the car should have the advantage, but sometimes that's just not the case.
True. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if we've had many repeat winners, and that's just the product of whether the driver just picks his car and he says, see what you can do with it and have fun, and somebody else ends up being really good. But I'm going to go ahead. I know they were speaking about this earlier where Uticon said, or he could wrap it up this week.
Mm-hmm.
You're at VIR, and what you don't know, or what you know, but many people don't understand about VIR is, having driven that track, there's so many off-camber corners and undulations, just subtle things that can upset a car.
Yep.
And the way these cars will drive, especially this rear wheel, short wheelbase car, it's going to slide all over the place. And it's going to be a premium on who can stay off the grass. If you get caught in the grass out of VIR, you can go for a long way. There's a couple corners where the grass is more than the road itself. And it's one of those situations where, again, driving this in real life, it is one of the best tracks I've ever been on personally. But in this game, it is, for some reason, it's kind of an Achilles heel, because if you get one tire in that grass, as Forza has made, the grass is not grass, it's actually ice, and it just makes you just go flying. So if somebody gets in the grass, which with a little bumping and a little moving, this could happen up at the front, and we might see something different tonight, and who knows, this could be a toss-up race.
Yeah, you just never know, because if things do go wrong here for Uticon out at race number 8 of the season, and then we head out to Prague, which is a city circuit, and then there's the expectation that drivers will need to pit out there. If he has a bad race and he has to pit 2 times, maybe even more, if you have collisions with the surroundings, the environment, then this could definitely change quick in terms of the face of the leaderboard. Talking with T-Phrase. T-Phrase, last question for you here before we get ready to go racing for 14 laps out at Virginia International Raceway, the full track. And mind you, actually I want to go back to something that you said about the grass, is that they'll put Forza race regulations on, which then removes the tire barriers. So your point about going forever in the grass is no more true than it is for this race, because without those tire walls, then you're at the mercy of the lack of friction there, as Forza, like you said, kind of makes it an icy surface there with the grass. My last question for you, T-Phrase, is what is the most fun that you've had here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, and what would you say to anybody who's thinking about participating themselves in Season 34?
My favorite car, tracks are to each their own, but my favorite car that provided the best racing, I thought, that I've been a part of, was the Aston Martin V8 Vantages. It was a lot like a racing a NASCAR, big V8, long wheelbase, big wheels on it. The thing handled, and it would move. So if you needed to step out and slide that back in to get around a corner, you could, but it'd come right back to you. You weren't just going to spin. That was the most fun I had. I don't know about for the broadcast. It's kind of a toss-up for that. But that car, I race it still to this day whenever I hop on Forza. That's one of the first cars I hop in. But have you announced the 3050 yet, or no?
Well, we had the race back this past Sunday, and then we've got the one that's coming up here this coming Sunday. And
Right.
right now, the vote is pretty neck and neck with the trophy trucks and modern hot hatch vehicles. So anybody who is curious about 3050 and participating in that one, if you want to have a say in which vehicle division is eligible for 3050, and if you don't know what I mean, then you need to head over to the Discord, our Virtual Autosports Discord, because everything is spelled out for you there in that channel. As a matter of fact, there's Nightbot with a link for you. But are we going to see T-Phrase in 3050?
Possibly. I don't know if you follow, if anybody in here knows the way I race, 3050 is one of the best events I've ever been a part of. And it's actually the highest place I've ever finished in any series.
Nice.
Outside of, open lobbies in Forza. I finished, I think, second or third in a Lamborghini. And that was a toss-up, and boy, it was fun.
Yeah, I remember. I vividly remember chatting with you after that race, and you were just so stoked with how you performed in that one, and you were enamored with the car that you had selected. And for anybody who's not aware, 3050, you got 30 minutes of testing, tuning, and qualifying in a vehicle that you randomly select on Sunday. You show up not prepared to race whatsoever, and then we head out to the track in a car that you select from a board that we throw up here on the broadcast. It's very much like a game show, and then after everybody's selected their car, you start doing what you can, make the most of whatever vehicle it is that you're given, and then we go out for a 50-mile race. So it's a pretty quick race. It's not a long event whatsoever. It's just a lot of fun. It's very interesting to see what people are able to do with what hand they're dealt, so to speak.
Exactly. And that's a part of the reason why I know I've asked you in the past if it was coming back, and I'm glad to see it back. Hopefully I can participate. Sometimes Sunday's a little cramped for me with other racing events and things that I've been joining up, but might be able to join this one. I'll look into it and see what I can do.
Very cool. T-Phrase, always a blast chatting with you. We hope to see you again soon out here on the track.
No problem. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. T-Phrase, big-time tooth guy. Yeah, there's a little origins to that. There is, I think it was maybe season 28. He was sporting an Oral-B livery, and I said, well, maybe he's just a big-time tooth guy. He he loves himself some clean teeth. T-Phrase, and actually jumped into the booth, the broadcast booth with us, both myself, Unironically Average, Frozen Toes 24, and T-Phrase. Commentated the 2.4 hours of Nürburgring that we did here on Virtual Autosports. We'll have that running here as a Virtual Autosports throwback. I'll have details on that on Forza Friday. We'll talk a little bit more on that. But here we go out at VIR. Kick the tires and light the fires. Cratrum, who starts out on pole, is going to lead them off the line, heading up to Horseshoe here for race number 8, our penultimate race of season number 33 before the 69-lap race out there at Prague Short Circuit 1 week from tonight. Heading into the Horseshoe, in first it is still Cratrum with Udikan there in second, Carbon in a matching livery in fourth. Third. Salty Bonkos is in fourth, Corvette in fifth, Maverick in sixth, T-Phrase not out on the track. That's Fear the Fun in seventh position, Dior Hocus in eighth, Wolf in ninth, Slipstream in 10th, and I'm just throwing all kinds of names out there. And here comes Udikan as they go through the snake. He's going to try to make the pass here on Cratrum. He makes it happen, and there they go, and Cratrum's now going to get double passed. Here comes Carbon, and like that, a Carbon copy has two of those green and silver Pontiac Solstice GXPs scoot on past, and you might as well make that a three car pass there, or three cars get around Cratrum. A threefer as Cratrum falls back to fourth position. Salty Boncos, the Portuguese driver, up to third. Here they come into Oak Tree. Unfortunately, no Oak Tree there at this hairpin. They'll go ahead and head back up the hill and back toward the start-finish line, down the long straightaway, up to Madison Avenue and the roller coaster section of 14. Cratrum in fifth now. Maverick in sixth. Fear the Fun in seventh. Wolf, Fuentang, and Slipstream are your top 10. Then back behind Slipstream in 11th. And there's a little bump to the back of Udikan. Carbon letting him know that he's still there. And now Carbon's going to look to the inside line. Make that the outside coming up to turn 16 and 17. And they'll go back into single file formation as they come up to the line for the beginning of lap number 2 of 14 here in our final race of the evening, season number 33, week 4. riding on board there with Udakan. Let's go back to Salty Bonkos, who sits in 3rd position. And Kraytrim has jumped back up to 4th, able to get around Maverick. And now let's see here as Salty Bonkos and Carbon try to do everything in their power to get around Udakan and potentially keep Udakan from clinching the season a week early. And almost as if they're on rails, they all follow the same racing line there. That's how you know these drivers are top-notch. They know that fast line, and they're going to stick to it until they get to an area where they can pass. And speaking of which, here comes Carbon now just peeking out there. Imagine that. They've got the headlamps on out here at a sunny VIR, had them turned off in a rainy Silverstone. Up the hill, out of turn 8, into turn 9. Very tricky one here. You go too wide, and it's down the hill. Somebody grabbing a little bit of dirt there. I think that might have been Carbon. And into Oak Tree, turn 11 and 12. You get a little bit more runoff area there, some curbing to work with, and here they go, back down the straightaway, running through the field. It's Udakan, our race leader, with Carbon in 2nd. That's a Carbon copy of our first race of the evening. Then it changes up with Salty Bonkos in 3rd, Kraytrim, who came in 3rd last race, in 4th right now, Maverick in 5th, Fear the Fun 6th, Corbin in 7th, Wolf, Foontang, and Slipstream still 8, 9, and 10. Then it's Kuda, Magnolia, Oddrex, DOR Hocus there in 14th position, trying to get back into the top 10 for the second time this evening. Chaos Fox in 15th, Born as Ghost is 16th, Slow Motion Fire in 17th, Mega Chin, Modern Weapon, Presto's Besto, Grim, and D-Fire are 18th through 22. We didn't lose anybody on our last race. Hopefully that'll be the case, and that'll be a long time, the first time in a long time that we've had a race where there's been no DNFs. Again, I knock on wood, cross my fingers and my toes. We don't want to see anybody fall out. Not at all. Let's go with Kraytrim here in 4th position, back behind Salty Bonkos, and let's ride on board as he heads into turn number 1, and then it'll be 2. And look at Carbon. Once again, he's going to try to go side by side. He puts those front wheels up onto the back wheels of Udakan. Can't make it happen. Into NASCAR they go. NASCAR bend. You see the IMSA sign there on the inside. And now here they head toward the Michelin banners up on the hill there into left hook. Turn number 4 up to 5, 5A. Corbett needs somebody to try to get out there in front of Udakan and even bring them back a bit more. 2nd probably still works to Udakan's favor. Anybody who's seeking the championship needs a desperate turn of events here in this 8th race of the season. Here they go, and you'll see that drop off to the right-hand side as we ride on board here with Kraytrim. It's a scary one. If you go off there, like T-Phrase said, you're gone. You're sliding. And there's some sparks there as Udakan gets passed by Carbon, and side by side down the stretch they come. Let's go ahead and move our cameras up there. We're going to go with Salty Bonkos here, who's right on the back bumper of Udakan. Carbon's inch out in front of him just by a nose there, that front bumper, and he's going to have the advantage coming up here to, this is going to be Madison here at the top of the hill. Before they click into the back straight section. And actually, I take it back. This is roller coaster. They don't have the Madison Avenue jut out here on this Forza Motorsport 7 rendition of Virginia International Raceway. And wouldn't you look at that, Carbon now out in front by about 2 car lengths. Make that 3 or 4 now as they come out of Hogpen up to the straightaway. Into turn 1 once again, and there's Kraytrim waiting, looking for an opportunity here to get back into a podium spot. He sees Salty Bonkos taking the low line, so he's going to go mid-race line, and continues to hang out there in 4th position, although he is reeling him in. Udakan maybe a little bit off the pace here as Carbon starts to depart. Dino Dado saying Carbon's on it. And of course, just as I say that here, that lead from 1st to 2nd shortens up real quick. And here they go. Carbon, Udakan, Cratrium. Udakan, Salty, then Cratrium. Out of Snake into turn number 8. Oh, and there goes Salty Bonkos, maybe a little bit too far into the inside. Gets the 2 driver's side wheels up into the air ever so slightly. That allows Cratrium to kind of make a run at him here. Although still no chance to pass. Let's see how it looks into Oak Tree. What a formation we've got there of the Pontiac GXP Solstices. C500 here in Forza Motorsport 7, 265 horsepower with a matching amount of foot-pounds of torque, 2,882 pounds vehicle curb weight. And now look at that, the 2 green and silver cars with the matching paint jobs. Carbon and Udakan starting to lose sight of Salty. They're putting them back in the rearview mirror there. Here comes in 5th Maverick, and actually Maverick falling off the pace. And he'll have Corvid on his rear bumper here shortly. IPR Wolf, Slipstream in 8th, Funtang in 9th, Hocus in 10th now. After last time we saw him, it was in 14th, so Hocus making moves. Keeping our camera fixated here on the top 4. Heading into lap number 5. Dino Dado saying this is great. Matt saying the top 4. Superb stuff here. Like I said during our countdown to the broadcast, one of the longest running Forza Community Leagues that you will find, dating back to the Forza Motorsport 4 days. As a matter of fact, their initials, the branding that they go by for their league is FM4, and that is paying tribute to the FM4 days, but in an inadvertent way. They didn't know that, I don't think Slow Motion Fire knew that things were going to go on for so long, and now they sport it, and I call them here on the broadcast the Forza Spec Racing Series. That way not to get confused here. We're definitely not racing in Forza Motorsport 4. And the gap here between 1st to 2nd to 3rd to 4th starting to grow a little bit here, but here comes Udakan now to the inside. Let's move our camera up, and it looks like he's going to grab it for right now. Carbon with the outside line, maybe able to hold on to a bit more momentum, but then there's some sparks, and look at that. Carbon's going to push him up the hill. Carbon seemed to have more speed. Acting as a little bit of a jet propulsion there, some afterburner there for Udakan. Coming out of turn 12. Now down roller coaster. As we go to the Virtual Autosport Rewind there for that awkward moment of brotherly love there as they share the same livery. I'm guessing there's a bit of a friendship there that is equally matched by the playfulness here of the race, the rubbing, the constant contact that they continue to exude out here on the track, letting each other know, you haven't lost me yet. I'm hanging out with you. As Salty Baco's wide coming through the horseshoe. Still, all 22 drivers out there on the track. One of the great evenings that we've had as far as internet connections go, and Slow Motion Fire is probably in a bit of a relief because he had double disconnects there in week number 3. Which, if you remember our scoreboard, our leaderboard from the top of the broadcast, it shows up disappointingly so for him on the far right-hand column. Here comes Udakan now. Starting to pour it on. Carbon, who Matt was saying is on it, now looking a little bit less on it. That or Udakan is just that much more on it. Salty Bonkos again, probably for the second or third time that we've seen him coming out of turn number 9, grabbing the grass. Fortunately, actually, that's turn number 10 where you're coming off the plateau there, and fortunately was able to keep 2 wheels on the asphalt keeping that car on track. Let's go ahead and look a little bit back here. Corvette in 5th, Maverick in 6th, 7th is IPF Wolf, and Futang in 8th, Slipstream in 9th. Let's go to DR Hocus here, who's trying to make a move for 9th position. Looking a little wobbly there is Hocus. As Fear the Fun, and look at that, one little maneuver there to the inside, blocking Fear the Fun. That's a legal move. One little blocking maneuver is okay, and here comes Hocus now out of roller coaster. The end of turn number 16 into 17, and the end of lap number 6, beginning lap 7 as our leaders cross the line, and they'll start to approach lap traffic there as they head toward turn number 3 and 4, and then they'll probably approach those cars that much more there through the snake section, 6 and 6A. And Fear the Fun's going to be able to make a move on Hocus, who clips the glass. Oh my gosh, clips the grass and gets his car a little uneasy, slowing him up a bit, and allows Fear the Fun to get through, at least for now. Up into the top 10 he goes. And let's see if Fear the Fun in that Hybrid Max car closes in on Slipstream, and we'll see if I can get my English working again. Back to second with Carbon. And here comes Cratrim, who is now in 3rd position. Salty Bonkos has fallen back. And so right now our top 3, this is where they stood at the end of the Silverstone International track. That race number 7, just before this one. Let's see if they change position here on the back half of this race, closing out lap number 7. They'll have 7 more to go when they cross the line in this 14-lap event. Salty Bonko is there. We see the red and black car come into view. He is definitely dropped back a bit, and that's going to allow Corvid, who's in 5th, and there goes one of the back markers, wisely grabbing the inside line there out of Hogpen, allowing our drivers to get through without incident. It's Presto's Besto there in 21st. Let's hop on board with Cratrium. Get a look at how technical this 3.27 mile Virginia International Full Raceway is, and oh no, I spoke too soon. We probably lost somebody there. That's usually what that screen indicates. If we're lucky, maybe it was just a glitch. And unfortunately, it's Presto is Besto with a DNF here. That'll be 3 points for Presto. Through 7, 8, 9. Up the hill to 10. I said Formula One out here. I actually don't believe Formula One's ever raced VIR. I think it's only been IndyCar. I told you guys at the beginning of the broadcast, definitely correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know for certain that Formula One's been out here. I'm Dustin Moore on the mic, and yes, I hate it when we get close to the end of the season, especially one that's been so competitive and so exciting to watch as this one here in the Pontiac GXPs, but we've got to crown a champion at some point, allow that champion to pick the car for the next season so that we can get into the next one. It'll probably be a couple of weeks of off-season before they start things back up for season number 34, but everything you need to know to participate over there at reddit.com/r/FM4. Get yourself signed up. Perhaps even race with the folks, the guys and gals here of the Forza Spec Racing Series in the finale. They'll be happy to have you. And let me correct that. There we go. That's what we're looking for. And let's see. Did we have another pass there? No, Udakan taking the high line. Cratrium following back behind Carbon, who was on the inside coming out of Horseshoe. And they'll remain first, second, and third. Let's go ahead and let's see. Salty Banco's in fourth. Let's go to Corvid here in fifth position. If you're enjoying the content, please click that follow button. Be greatly appreciated. We've got more for you here tomorrow. Tomorrow, Wild Card Wednesdays. I've got a game that's on tap that you all won't know about because I'm not going to tell you. You got to show up here 6 p.m. Eastern time right here on Virtual Autosports for Wild Card Wednesdays. Then on Thursday, we got Thursday Night Throwdown heading out to the Nürburgring GP circuit in the Porsche Cayman GT4 car, which is one of the new additions in Forza Motorsport 7. Click on that link to the Discord channel for everything you need to know, and hopefully we'll see you out on the track. It's very much like the Forza Spec Racing Series, except for the fact that it's not a season. It's just a standalone race, and we're taking that car out there to the Nürburgring. We've got a qualifying session, about a 15-minute qualifying session, followed up by 30 laps around the GP circuit with one mandatory quick stop, and we do have a chance of precipitation out there as well, so that's going to be an exciting one to watch Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Virtual Autosports. We'll talk a little bit more about that here at the end of our broadcast, but let's see how things end up out here at the VIR full circuit with Udakan leading the crew around the track. The pack of 22 cars that we did have out here. Unfortunately, we lost Presto's Besto, so we're down to 21, and oh no, we're getting that screen again. Oh my, who did we lose this time? Let's see, Carbon is still out there. Same can be said for Cratrium, Salty Banco's Corvid, Maverick in 6th position, Wolf in 7th, Poontang in 8th, Slipstream in 9th, Oddrex is 10th, Chaos Fox, Kuda, Born as Ghost, Hocus, Magnolia, Slow Motion Fire still on the track in 16th. I was hoping I didn't give him the commentator curse. 17th is Mega Chin, 18th is Grim, 19th is Modern Weapon, then D-Fire, who is in 20th. That leaves our two DNF drivers of Presto and Fear the Fun. Oh no. He's not going to be happy about that one. He was having a good race here, at least last time we checked. Let's go back to our top three. Handbrake turn, it looked like, says Ghibli Jib. It could be, or sometimes in spectating these events, we'll get a weird like anomaly, like if the game's just not reading the driver's car real great, you know, with regards to connection. It might just kind of pivot the car a little bit to keep it where the car is on the track with little regard to physics. So sometimes we get those little anomalies just because as communication kind of trickles in and out. And Cratrium, he's going to slide it through turn number 17 there. It looks like he was able to keep it on the curbing and therefore on the asphalt. And so let's go ahead and move the camera back there. And he did, but he sees himself a good 1.5 seconds back there from Carbon. Salty Banco's lurking in the background in 4th. Corvid was unable to make the move around Salty Banco's and looks to be maybe a second behind. We'll see if he can close that gap here in the remaining laps. And yeah, Big J Bishop expressing his disappointment there in the Twitch chat, the pit lane as we call it. Bearden, 1234. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the broadcast. Great to have you here and everybody else who's tuned in. Again, if you missed a little bit of this broadcast here tonight, we'll have the rerun for you shortly after the conclusion of this broadcast. I have to wait for Twitch to kind of finish encoding everything, and then I'll be able to run it back. But then, of course, you can watch this one and all of Season 33 back in the video tab here of twitch.tv/Virtual Autosports, and even back to Season 32, 31, and I think we've got 30 still on file. And here comes Cratrium in the Swordfish Motorsport car, and it's actually looking quite clean. Not a whole lot of scrapes on that one. Not any that I can tell. Maybe you can change that up here in these final laps. Go ahead and throw some elbows out and make his way up into second or first. We're continuing to watch this battle right here because, yes, there are the implications that if Udakan wins this race, odds are extremely high that he may have Season 33 locked up and won, which would make week number 5 a vanity race, a fun little jaunt around Prague, the short circuit in week number 5. Still will be competitive, I assure you that. Let's go to in 10th position, Audrex. Audrex back behind Slipstream, and there goes, that looks like D-Fire sliding off the track, or maybe that was Magnolia. No, that's D-Fire in the blue and orange GXP. Audrex able to get back and around D-Fire, who was returning to the racing surface. 11th is Chaos Fox, and Kuda in 12th. But they're well behind Audrex here, so the top 10 looking pretty solidified here at this point, with just 3 laps remaining out here at VIR. Let's go to Funtang in 8th position. Have you ever had a race of all Lexus LFAs? That race would be sound deafening, says Ghibli. I don't think the Forza Spec Racing Series has done the LFA. The highest rated vehicle in terms of performance that I can recall was the Aston Martin DB9. Unless I'm forgetting a season, but that was I think it was an S-Class car. That or is just a really high-performing A-Class car. There isn't an LFA in Forza Motorsport 7. That's right, because in Forza Motorsport 7, that's when we saw the disappearance of Toyota Lexus. Yep, that's true. And now they're back in Forza Horizon 4. And hopefully then that means the return for Toyota and Lexus in Forza Motorsport 8 and the full return. We did have some Toyota cars, but they were off-roaders. And then some racing cars, like the Toyota Camry NASCAR. But it wasn't any of the brand's street-going machines. And that was a weird little situation that spilled out over social media, but they've seemed to walk that one back. And here we are on lap number 13 of 14. So next time by, the flag stand will be their final lap. Carbon, Cratrim, even Salty Boncos starting to come closer into the picture here as they get through turn 3 and 4 up to 5A. You can't have these cameras. Yeah, you can't spectate in Forza Horizon 4. I wish we could. Otherwise, we would have some Forza Horizon 4 races. I would definitely put some events on if we could spectate, but unfortunately we can't. And so we won't. Cratrium looking very, very strong. And Udakan having to deal with Grim. Grim's going to go to the outside there through turn number 10. Carbon's going to use Grim, I don't think intentionally, but gets those door panels, those kicker panels to make contact. Grim staying on the track, though, and Cratrim and Salty are able to get by. Well done by Grim to make what could have been a very difficult and very dangerous situation into seemingly be harmless out there. He wasn't imposing on any of the drivers as they made their way through, and that also speaks to the volume of skill here in our top 4 drivers, being able to navigate lap traffic like that when they've got such close competition between the 4 of them. And look at this train of 4 as they come up to the line in our final evening where we've got 2 races here in Season 33. The white flag flies as Udakan leads them around. Carbon, Cratrium, Salty Boncos, 2, 3, and 4 out here at Virginia International Raceway as we get ready to put the end to the chapter of week number 4 here in Season 33. Who can come away with the win in the final moments? We've got 17 corners to figure it out. Here they go into turn number 1 and 2. It's Horseshoe. Cratrium just hanging out right there. Not going to press the issue just yet. Now up to turn number 2. This little kink here, which throws them back toward turn number 3. NASCAR bend. Here they go up onto the curbing there, onto the apex. Well, actually, they're going to take the corner wide there and use the outer curbing to bring them back in for turn number 4. Left hook, then into 5A. Here comes Cratrim with Salty Boncos. Salty Boncos is maybe going to make Cratrim a little bit nervous here. Right in that rear view mirror as they go still. Single file into 6A. Coming up to turn number 7. They switch it back to turn 8, the right-hander. Then 9, up the hill, turn 10. Salty Boncos, once again, a couple of wheels off into the dirt. Brings it back out on the track into Oak Tree, turn 10. Check that, 11 and 12. Here comes Cratrim, who was wide out of 12. That's going to allow Salty Boncos to make a run on them. Down the stretch they come, up the hill, and out in the distance, Udakan has established a pretty sizable lead there as Carbon loses pace with them. Side by side go Cratrim, wheel to wheel with Salty Boncos. Coming up to turn number 14 and 14A, down into roller coaster. Salty Boncos is off into the grass. It's going to allow Cratrim to come back in. A little switcheroo there as they exchange position for third. Now Cratrim with about a 2.5 car lead. Heading into the final corner, turn number 17. Udakan out there in front of his light-painted GXP brethren of Carbon, and across the line, AMS Udakan, Carbon in second. Cratrim will be here at third position. Salty Boncos in fourth. Carbon in fifth. Check that. Corvid in fifth position. Maverick in sixth. Let's go to IPR Wolf in seventh position as he comes out of turn number 17. He's got one of the back markers out in front of him. Back behind Wolf is going to be Funtang in eighth position. Ninth is Audrex. 10th is Slipstream. And that should be where Slipstream finishes things out. Coming back toward the start-finish line, a little bit further back in 11th position, it's Chaos Fox, who's running all by himself. 12th is DOR Hocus. Let's go to Born as Ghost here in 13th position as they come out of roller coaster and down the hill towards 17. Hogpin, Born as Ghost, able to keep it on the track. Not going to be able to catch up there with Hocus. 13th is where Born as Ghost will finish. Magnolia in 14th position. Here comes Kuda in 15th. Will Kuda be able to make a run? Will not. That's where he'll finish. Slow Motion Fire back there in 16th position. Megachin in 17th. Grim in 18th. Modern Weapon is 19th. D-Fire in 20th. And that leaves Fear the Fun in 19th position. Or excuse me, 21st position with the disconnect. And Presto is Besto in 20th. There you go, folks. That's how race number 9 ends. Week 4 has come to a close here in Season 33. We have just 1 week to go. And if all indications are pointing to AMS Udakan winning this one, then he may very well have the championship locked up. And that means Week 5 will be, a run for the fun of it. And, of course, all the other positions on the leaderboard as well. It's not just first that some folks are gunning for. They want to see themselves a little bit higher up on the leaderboard. We'll see how they'll finish. But there you go, folks. An end to things out here at the very dry and sunny VIR, unlike that which started out a little moist, a little wet, a little slippery. out there at the International Circuit of Silverstone. We'll take a 3-minute break here with some commercial ads. We'll be back here on Virtual Auto Sports to talk to some of our drivers and the driver's spotlight. Hang tight, and then we'll also preview what's ahead here on the channel moving forward through the week. For those of you not receiving a commercial break right now, we'll get back to the conversation with some of our drivers after the commercial break has ended here in about 27 seconds. Thanks for hanging out with us, and for those of you that aren't seeing commercials because you are a subscriber to the channel, I appreciate that support greatly, as it helps out in a lot of the things that we do here and some of the other fun stuff that may be coming up in the broadcast in the not too distant future. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Virtual Auto Sports. Week number 4 of Season 33 of the Forza Spec Racing Series is done and over. And the man, the myth, the legend, AMS Udakan has won now his 7th race of 8 here in Season 33. Just one shy, all thanks to the Nürburgring Nordschleife there in week number 3 of a sweep heading into the finale. The week 5, race number 9, that's going to be out at Prague for 69 laps. At this point, it would seem, and we'll allow Slow Motion Fire to do the official tally, that AMS Udakan should have Season 33 locked up, which, if I remember correctly, may very well be his 2nd season of victory here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. I'll have to check myself on that one, but great stuff here in Season 33, and even if the championship is claimed heading into the final race of the season, you better believe, just as SGR Corbett told us, it's going to be as thrilling, as exciting as all other parts of the season, especially so when we're heading out to a city circuit like Prague. The racing's going to be close. There's going to be a lot of dealing with back markers. You do have some area of runoff in some places, but then a lot of the other, about 90% of the track, there's no runoff. It's concrete wall that you have there. Oh my gosh, here you guys go. Matt 6661 with the Tier 1 subscription to AMS Udakan. Perhaps if you win the Forza Spec Racing Series, you get to pick the car for the next season. You get bragging rights, and then maybe Matt 6661 throws a Tier 1 subscriber at you. Well, at least he does here in Season 33. Hudakan will be sporting the badge there in the Twitch chat. And Carryout has resubscribed for 3 months now. 3 months for Carryout, Tier 1. Thank you all so much for that support. All right, enough of me blabbering. Let's go ahead over to our driver interview, our driver spotlight section here. And DOR Hocus, I think you finished 12th as opposed to the top 10 finish there that you had at Silverstone. All in all, it's VIR, and you knew this was going to be a challenge. Are you okay with how this one finished up?
I thought I would be a little bit further back, but starting at 8th, I mowed my way back to 12th, which is, I don't think that's too bad.
mowed your way back there. Were you off the track much, or was it just a couple of mistakes that put you back?
Twice in the same spot.
Yeah. Let me guess, turn 10 coming up to the old oak tree corner. Down the hill.
No, actually not.
Oh.
It was turn... Oh, I don't know what number turn it was. Turn 1, 2, 3.
On the front part of the track or the back? Okay. Yep. Gotcha. Part. Okay. All right. Heading into the complex string of chicanes there before the turn 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the oak
right
tree.
Before those.
Gotcha. Here we go. Heading into the final week, Prague. Knowing where you are, or maybe seeing where you're going to be on the leaderboard after Slow Motion Fire tallies up the points, do you look forward to week number 5 just kind of being a fun, hey, let's get out there to Prague, fantasy track, city course, let's see how crazy we can make it, or what's your approach to the finale here of Season 33?
Oh, I'm still going to go. I want to get as far up as I can get in the points.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. And that's I obviously, anybody who's a competitor and wanting to race in organized leagues, I would guess that they would want to see themselves as far up as possible, even if you know that the championship is out of reach. Talking with DOR Hocus here in the driver's spotlight after having concluded things in week number 4. You have one more event here in the Pontiac GXP Solstice. Does that make you happy, or maybe are you going to miss this guy a little bit?
I kind of like the car. It pushes into the corners. It's a little bit loose out of the corners. Mm-hmm. But Prague was my pick, so I will be looking forward to Prague. Oh,
how about that? So we're talking about how competitive you're going to be taking the finale race, and then you tell us that, hey, that was the one that you selected there at the start of the season. For people who don't know, Slow Motion Fire, when the champion picks the car for the next season, we'll put up some obscure photos. You guessed the photo correctly, or you guessed the car correctly, and then you get to pick a track. Hocus saying that he picked Prague. What is it about Prague that you like? That track showed up in the Forza Motorsport 5 release, the first title on the Xbox One. What do you like about Prague that had you selecting it?
Yeah, it's a little bit different from all the other tracks. It has a couple of different places. If you hit the wall, you just come to a dead stop. And I'm hoping that would work to my advantage.
And then as we think to that track, and I'm not too certain if the pit stop will be necessary because of fuel, if the tank's going to deplete out, but is there any sort of pit strategy that you take into that race, or is that something you're not going to divulge here?
I don't think we'll need to do pits,
okay,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Hopefully I won't have to due to damage.
Yeah, that's true. There's the clarifying of whether or not you're going to have enough fuel to go the entire race, but then really the question comes down to if you can keep it out of the wall and not make contact and put damage to the vehicle. Season 33 will come to an end. Then season 34 will eventually happen. Do we expect to see DOR Hocus, and then are the aspirations that much higher going into that one?
Depending on what car we have for next season, I'm hoping to at least get top 10 in points.
Okay. And what would be the ideal vehicle for you if we haven't already discussed that?
What would be? I would like to do I think it's the 82 Porsche.
Oh, nice.
Either that one or maybe the E36 BMW, okay, something like that would be nice.
Oh, nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, very cool. DOR Hocus, thank you for jumping into the driver's spotlight here We'll see. You're going for that top 10 in the points, or at least the top 10 finish there. We'll see if you can make it happen a week from tonight.
Thank you.
All right, let's go pull in from our driver spotlight section. The man who has won 7 of 8 races here in season 33. Does that one race that eluded you, does that kind of stick in your craw? Is that something that you're not too thrilled about right now?
A little bit, but I know everyone's not everyone's perfect. I can't always have a perfect clean sweep. So
yeah, it can't always happen. You told us earlier in the season there were a couple of races where you wanted to make sure that the front was a bit more competitive. So you admitted, hey, I slowed down a bit. I let some of the drivers catch up with me so that we can make it fun and exciting. Was that the case out here tonight at Silverstone and out at VIR? Was Carbon genuinely neck and neck with you in terms of pace?
he was very neck and neck with me with pace. Silverstone was me making very simple mistakes from adjusting to the conditions, going from rain to obviously having a dry track. Obviously, the braking zones change, how much power you can put on out the corners changes, etc. And it just took me a little bit longer to warm up to that. Whereas VIR, it's just I made a couple of, well, shall I say, rookie mistakes, I think, which allowed him to catch back up. So it was quite good.
Your rookie mistakes are my everyday mistakes, which then I guess is the reason why you call them rookie mistakes, because that would be me doing them over and over again. Talking with AMS Udakan here in the driver's spotlight after what seems to be, we'll let Slow Motion Fire do it officially there in his points tally, what seems to be you locking up season number 34 heading out to Prague. Hopefully we'll see you in week number 5 for that race. And as SGR Corvid was telling us, when there's nothing up for grabs, it actually makes it that much more exciting and that much more competitive. Are you looking at it that with that same lens?
Oh, definitely. I'm not going to obviously not show up for next week. I'm kind of looking forward to Prague with the joys of the jump at the chicane, which will provide some good racing, I think. And obviously I'd love to, see what Carbon's got against me as well, which will be good fun as well.
Tell us a little bit more about this Carbon relationship that you have, not only out on the track competing with each other, but you show up here in week number 4 with what you dub a new livery in our Twitch chat, our pit lane as we call it. And as you roll out there, sure enough, you're sporting the same colors, the same design as Carbon. What's going on there?
Well, I decided, why not? We may as well match if we're equal pace. And I decided to throw a Carbon tuning logo on the side that I made last night at like 5 a.m. I was like, you know what? He deserves it. He's given me his setups for all of the races in this season, and I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done if it hadn't been for him. So...
And either his ears are burning or he knows we're talking about him because now he's jumped into the queue for interview there. But I'll take a couple more questions from you. So as we head into the final race, and if you do indeed have season 33 locked up like we think you have there in the points, do you already have a car in mind for season 34, or are you taking some requests from the competitors, the participants, to say, hey, what do you guys want? Are you kind of filling out the crowd, or are you going to go on your own?
I have 3 cars I'm potentially looking at, which would be very out of the box, I think. I don't think you ever see them race anywhere online, so it's going to be a very interesting combination.
Anywhere online?
Yep, not even small private leagues racing, which will be good fun.
Oh, okay. Well, how's that for a teaser? You guys have all the reason then to hang out with us here on Virtual Auto Sports and see what 34 has in store. The Forza Spec Racing Series. AMS Udakan, before we let you go here, and I know it's not the end of the season yet, but any shout-outs you want to have here tonight before we head into the finale a week from now?
Well, I've got to give Matt a shout-out in the pit lane for the gifted sub. He's a legend, and I've definitely got to give a shout-out to Carbon because, as I said, if he hadn't given me his setups for this, none of this would have been possible.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll get to Carbon's take on that. AMS Udakan, great chatting with you, and an early unofficial congratulations here for season 33 performance.
Thank you very much.
All right, and before I bring Carbon in here, yes, I want to thank Matt6661, who's now gifted a subscription not only to our tentative or what looks to be our season 33 winner of AMS Udakan, but has also thrown one Carbon's way, who right now has picked up 2 second-place finishes in week number 4, and we'll see what that translates to on the scoreboard. Carbon, what do you make of Udakan picking out the same livery? Did you anticipate that, or do you think he's doing that to kind of mess with you a bit?
No. We had actually talked about it. Race 1, I think it was. No, yeah, it was at Le Mans. We had talked about it, so we were talking about that idea. I did not know he was actually going to do the carbon tuning parts. That was a surprise yesterday, so that was pretty awesome. I'm pretty honored.
I was going to say, maybe a little bit humbling there that not only has he plucked your tune, he said that you did such a great job setting this vehicle up, and it set him up for success, but then he goes ahead and dons the same colors as you, which is kind of just a nice little tribute thing here that community members do for each other.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that really shows how awesome our community is and can be and will always be. And I really appreciate him doing that for me.
You appreciate that, but I got to ask, do you regret even slightly helping him out with a tune now that you've seen him take 7 of 8 races here in Season 33?
Absolutely not. And the reason is, I know, but it really proves to me that I have the ability to set up the car in a way that not only I can drive, but he can drive as well, and be competitive. And it also shows that I can somewhat keep up with him. So, no, I don't have any regrets. Just shows me where I can improve. So it's awesome.
If you were to guess where, and he told us that there's 3 cars that he has in mind, if you were to guess where Udacon's going, where he's leading to in picking a car for Season 34, what maybe kind of jumps to mind for you?
The first thing that comes to mind is a meme, definitely a meme car. So maybe a truck, maybe something super slow, maybe something insane. I don't know, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think the slowest we've seen here, at least in the time that I've been broadcasting the Forza Spec Racing Series, are some E-Class Fiat, what are they, X19s or 519s or something like that. I can't recall the digits for the model. But, yeah, it would be interesting to see where he's going with this, especially when he says that he hasn't seen any other league take this vehicle on. So it very well could be a meme car.
It could be, and I'll give a little hint out there. Me and him were talking, and we both agree that we enjoy those slower classes over the quicker classes. So maybe that'll be some insight into what he picks.
There you go. Carbon, talking with Carbon here in the driver's spotlight. For those folks who are watching us and they're like, oh, AMS Udacon loves Carbon's tunes, and you said, hey, this is kind of validating that you have the ability to set a vehicle up but then also keep pace. Where might folks, one, be able to pick up maybe some of your work if you're sharing with the community, and 2, where might else we see you racing within the community?
Oh gosh, I feel like I've been just about everywhere. I'm always in Matt 661's lobbies.
Yeah.
With Dino Dad Shadow, or actually Dino Dado. So
yeah, now he's changed it. Yeah.
I do have a few tunes up. I haven't really shared many, but I might have to do that in the future. As far as racing events, man, I try to jump into just about anything I can that fits with my schedule. And I'm, the Elko tune that I have and the Holden Monaro is pretty awesome. And for the homologated I can't even talk.
That's okay. It's a tricky one.
Homologated lobby. There you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you ever need a tune, feel free to reach out to me. I don't mind at all.
And what are your aspirations? Obviously, outside of the Forza Spec Racing Series, you said that you show up everywhere. You compete as much as your schedule permits. What are your aspirations? Are you mainly a community focused driver, or are you looking to see yourself expand upon your competitiveness here in throughout the community and then maybe beyond?
I'm honestly here for fun.
Okay.
I've been in teams before, and it's just I like doing what I like doing, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just here for fun, and I'll do the best I can to be competitive, and always give it a shot. So
Talking with Carbon here, and I'll give you one last question, and I'll put you on the spot with this one. If Udakan indeed, as we expect, has things locked up for season 33, you guys maybe qualify out at Prague, pretty close to each other. Do you kind of stick it to him into a corner and have a little fun with him, or is it clean all the way through the remainder of the season?
There might be some door taps. I might be a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, I mean, he has nothing to lose, so maybe I don't have anything to lose either. So we'll see.
I love it. Carbon, great chatting with you. We'll look forward to seeing how things go next week.
You too. Thanks again, Dustin.
Yep. All right, folks, man, that was a lot of fun, huh? Great interviews. Love talking with the drivers here of the league. That's just one of the awesome aspects of not only commentating, but just being a part of the Forza Spec Racing Series community. If you are indeed looking for a series that has that kind of brotherly love, like I said there at VIR, I was talking about it with Carbon and Udakan as they were exchanging position out on the track, but also if you're just genuinely looking for a league where they have a good time, there's minimal drama, and I can assure you that there is minimal drama. I'm not one to hang around the drama. I would quickly depart if that were the case. These guys have got it figured out. Slow Motion Fire does a great job setting expectations and making sure that doesn't matter what your skill level is, everybody understands what the rules are. They're pretty concise, they're pretty brief, they're blunt, they're to the point, and they make sure that everybody has a great time every single Tuesday from race to race to week. I have not seen an issue out here at all. Sure, there's maybe a few times that drivers question each other and the decisions that they make out on the track, but isn't that racing just in general? That's just how it happens in the world of racing, whether it be online or in the real world. Dino Dado is still hanging out with us. Carbon is here. AMS Udakan. Carbon and Udakan, enjoy those Tier 1 subscriptions, care of Matt661. And I must say, if you're not following Matt661 here on Twitch, you're doing yourself a disservice. The guy has great racing content that he provides, that he puts on week after week, but then also hops into other games from time to time. I've seen him in everything from Death Stranding into, I'm trying to think of some of the other titles, but it's not just racing content. Matt661, if you want to see some of the fun stuff that he does throughout the week, and then his partner in crime there, Dino Dado, as those two get together for Touring Car Tuesdays on Tuesdays, wouldn't you know? And so make sure you're giving both those channels a follow. Great contributors to the community. They have wonderful positive attitudes. So if you're looking for a stream where the folks are very welcoming and very nice to listen to and hang out with, those are two that you need to home in on here in the Twitch community, not only in the Forza Motorsport 7 directory, but they, like I said, they often wander elsewhere. Dino Dado more recently just going on a racing tear in Gran Turismo, dirt, iRacing. The dude's everywhere. So check him out and support him too, because Dino Dado used to put on wheel only races for those of you who own steering wheels. And if you'd like to see something like that come back into the community, hit Dino Dado up on Xbox Live, and perhaps he can get something like that going again. And Dino Dado saying we couldn't do it and wouldn't do it without the viewers. And same can be said here. As much as I love the Forza Spec Racing Series, my job as a broadcaster is to attract you all to enjoy, be excited, and get interested in rooting some of these drivers on. Yes, they're just you and I behind a computer screen or a TV screen with a controller in hand or a wheel in hand. But really, if I can get you excited to the point that it seems like a real race and you can cheer some of these guys and gals on, that's exactly what we're looking for here on the broadcast. And of course, your engagement in the Twitch chat, or the pit lane, as we like to refer to it as here in the on the channel, then that helps me out a lot, because then we've got some energy to build upon there. And carry out now with a gifted sub to DWM Frog. DWM Frog picking up 11 months of subscription here on the Virtual Autosport channel. So there you go. Carry out now making it happen twice, both with his own sub and then with one to DWM Frog. Folks, before I depart, I would be remiss if I didn't give you a little bit of a preview of what lies ahead. And yes, we've got daily content. This is day number 5 here of 7 that I promised back before April 17th. We started with Forza Friday last Friday, then we had ACC in the morning on Saturday, then we had 3050 on Sunday, then we had Be a Better Photographer last night, we had the Forza Spec Racing Series here tonight. We've got Wild Card Wednesdays tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to play a game that you all don't know about. You probably actually do know the game or have seen it. It's just I haven't ever broadcasted it before, so it'll be something different. It's a wild card. It's me saying, hey, show up here on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern for some different content, something that you may not have expected here on the broadcast, and have yourself a good time. We'll chat. We'll have a good time. You guys could probably poke fun at my racing performance or how abysmal it is. And then on Thursday, I can't stress this enough. If we want to have some racing on Thursdays, if we want to see this continue, and granted, there's other community events that are happening, but if you want standalone racing and you don't necessarily want to worry about a league-based format or a season-based format, you would just rather show up on Thursday, race, see how well you do, and then clear the slate and try it again the next Thursday. Then we've got Thursday Night Throwdown coming up 6 p.m. Eastern this Thursday. We're taking the Porsche Cayman GT4 car out to the Nürburgring GP track, not the Nordschleife, but the GP circuit. 15 minutes of qualifying, followed by 30 laps out there, which is going to equate to about 60 minutes of racing with one mandatory quick stop. And I think we've got an 80% chance of some rain in that race. So head on over to the link that Nightbot just dropped there to the Discord. It has all the information, everything you need to know, and then just show up on Thursday. You don't even have to register. We'll have spots available for you. Show up on Thursday. We'll get you out onto the track 10 after. We'll do the qualifying, and then we'll have the race. And then that'll be it for our 7 straight days of content. However, I can tell you with confidence we'll have a Forza Friday this Friday. So Forza Friday with yours truly, Dustin Moore, as we try to do a bit more in the Rivals event. And by we, I mean me. And again, it's another opportunity for you to poke fun at my abilities or lack thereof. But we had a fun time this past Friday doing the Leges Lamborghini Challenge in the Forza Motorsport 7 Rivals. We'll do it again here this coming Friday. And then we'll see about the rest of the week afterward, although we will have on Sunday 3050. You can find more information about that over on the Discord as well. And we actually have a poll happening on Twitter, and as of my last checking of that poll, my last look at it, the trophy trucks were winning the division. And with that being said, it means whatever division gets selected, either the trophy trucks or the modern hot hatch, that'll be the division from which our eligible vehicles for 3050 on Sunday will originate. And so a lot of folks very excited or interested to see trophy trucks, but then an almost equal amount wanting to see modern hot hatches. So get on over there to Virtual Autosports or at VRTL Autosports on Twitter. Cast your vote, and we'll see which one wins. The vote comes to an end, I believe, on Friday. So you want to get that in now before you forget. Okie doke, folks. Well, that's it for me. Again, we'll be back live tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern for Wildcard Wednesdays. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be something that you're not familiar with, at least not on this broadcast. I'm going to have fun with it. It's a game that I'm looking forward to revisiting. I can tell you that much. A game that was that debuted back on the Xbox 360 days. So we're going to jump back a few years and see how that one's fared, how it stood the test of time. If you get any more virtual racing in throughout the week, either here with us on Virtual Autosports or in any of the other community events, as always, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Y'all take care. And for all of those who went above and beyond with the subscriptions and gifting subscriptions today, I can't thank you enough. And hopefully the content all throughout the week will be will give you all the more reason that to say, hey, my subscription was worth it. It was money well invested into the channel. Take care, y'all. Have a great rest of the evening and a fantastic Hump Day Wednesday. Until next time, adios. Goodbye.